part of this program along with a few faculty members from the institute through this first part of today. It's a half-a-day program. We had one full day yesterday, which got stretched up till 6 p.m. We had around 40-odd speakers, one set in this campus, the other set across the road at Dhruv. Before we start off, the current situation in the world, this is an AI's summit. I hope you're all aware of the current situation which is there happening. What's going on currently in the world? War. How many would like to go and fight the war? Okay, it's not affected you, so still you won't be doing that. But there was a young girl who took an initiative in terms of reaching out and voicing her concern. She was only 9 years old and she wrote a poem and sang a song for the war to the president, who our Uncle Trump is, who decides that he's going to be the champion of peace, but is going to bomb almost every part of the globe. Internally, his own country is in strife with rampant drug control, which is ruled. I hope you know the gun laws in the US are pretty lenient in terms of owning it. One person can own at least 2 or 3 guns in the family. So they don't need a policing because they themselves are the police. Okay, so let me play this AV for you. And my only request is, in case this touches you at any part of your heart, please ensure that you express it either by a smile or moist eyes, or the most important, an applause. Okay, can we play the AV, please?
Nobody wants to die, that's for sure. So can you tell me what war is for? Mr. President, I know you're a clever man. Please can you tell me in words I'll understand? No mother on earth wants to lose her own child out on some cold battlefield. So why must soldiers go marching in rank and file and terrorize and murder? I'm asking you once more. Tell me what war is for. Mr. President, I know I'm only 9, but I'm frightened in a forest of missiles, tanks, and mines. You tell me to run for shelter whenever the sirens blow. All my life is put in danger for reasons I don't know, and the lives of all the others. Do you hear the babies cry while fire bombs and rockets rain down from the sky? They stand there face to face and could be friends instead. But before they give each other a chance, they shoot each other dead. Come on, how dumb is that? Tell me what war is for. And did you ask all the billions of people all around the globe if war was ever gonna help them to ease their heavy load? Or did you just ask your cronies how much money
is a little emotional right now. I was wiping tears throughout the AV. This is an AI event today. This video and the song were included through AI. The song is the girls, the visuals are AI driven. But as humans, what's our take on war? Let me show you that clip. This is not an AI generated video. This one is an actual ad, if you might say, of a brand. I am also a marketer. I know there are a lot of finance guys here, IT students here, and a lot of banking and finance or a school of business who was present here. Can we play the second AV, please? This is the human take on war.
Make love, not war. With new Axe Peace.
See, this is the power of marketing, the power of ads. 30 seconds can move people either to revolt or to make peace and not war. It all takes a single creative genius to prepare like this. Unfortunately, we lost the most loved creative genius, Piyush Pandey, last year. A man who's lived through generations, and he married brands together. Fevicol was a brand he's married for almost 30 years. Each ad of Fevicol is iconic. The one with all the guys sitting on the bus traveling to the desert and not falling off. Or the two brothers getting stuck in a when they put a hand in a Fevicol jar and then they get stuck for life. So these are like creative geniuses. You give a feed to AI, you prompt AI what you need. The first AV was that, because AI uses data which is existing. The human mind, if you give them something, a prompt, this is what they create when they talk about war. So that's what, the marriage is most important. How do you marry the human mind and the power of AI? It's all smart building. We heard it yesterday, the entire day when people spoke in terms of they might have 10 skills they know, but just one skill to adapt is not known. So obviously, that's the most important thing. A couple of students of yours got internships or lost internship basis that itself. Honestly admitted by spoo speakers who hired kids like you. Okay, I won't waste much time. I will straight away move into the knowledge sharing part of it. First of all, I would like to invite Professor Shikha Sindhu, the Dean of the School of Business, to give the opening keynote and welcome our guests and you students to be a part of it. Shikha ma'am, the floor is all yours. I think your presentation also queued up. If the console could help her with the presentation. Thank you so much. I hope the same thing happens when our next speaker comes up. Let me see.
हेलो हेलो बेटा थोड़ा मुस्कुरा लो भाई इतने क्या गंभीर दिखाई दे रहे हो ऐसे ब्रीद इन ब्रीद आउट लुक इजी सो गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबॉडी वेलकम अगेन सर okay so I have got two stories. I think a couple of my colleagues would have already heard those stories from me, but I am sure you would not mind listening to them once again. So they asked me to give keynote address in AI Summit. I believe, so I love stories. I love stories and I love telling stories for a couple of reasons. One is I believe that the world that you are going to enter into cannot be understood just by intellect. It has to be felt, it has to be questioned, it has to be reflected upon. Sirs, idhar aaiye na. Come sit here. So it has to be reflected upon. And what else does this job better than the stories, okay? So two stories, I'll be short, I'll be quick, because I'm sure you have more interest in listening to sir and not much in listening to me, क्योंकि मुझे तो सुनते ही रहते हो. So I'll be quick, okay? So my first story is about Geet Govind. Anybody, have you heard of this book? Have you heard of this book? है ना? मैंने तुम्हें नहीं सुनाई ना ये स्टोरी कभी Yeah, great. So it's only my colleagues who are going to get bored. That's okay. Okay, so my first story is about a poet, Saint Jaydev. It is based in 12th century. So 12th century, Jaydev was a very, very famous poet, more so for his devotion towards Lord Krishna. Okay, so he wrote this book. The image has been taken from Amazon, so the book exists in Amazon. I mean, if you want to check that out, was written in 12th century. Okay, so this book is about immense and eternal love between Radha and Krishna. So one day, and Jaydev was known across the land for the kind of love and the kind of devotion he held towards Lord Krishna. One day, one evening, he reached to a moment of deep intensity wherein he had to write a scene wherein Krishna bowed down to feet of Radha in love and surrender. Now, when Jaydev was writing about it, he froze. I mean, how could he write about it? How could the all-powerful Krishna surrender in front of anybody, even if that anybody is Radha? Okay, so would it not diminish his power? Would it not diminish his divinity? So torn between devotion and doubt, Jaydev felt stuck. So what he did, he thought that, okay, let me take a break. And he left to, take a bath in the river. His wife Padmavati was preparing evening meal at that time. So Jaydev left. He left, and after some moments, he entered again the home. And he walked towards his study and sat with, glow and serenity. He sat at the desk and wrote the verse. And verse was this: Dehi pad pallavam udaram, which means, O Radhe, place your gentle feet on my head. Okay, you remember what was the doubt in Jaydev's mind? How could Krishna bow down? So doubt sorted. Krishna did not have to bow down. O Radhe, place your feet on my head. Objective achieved. Yeah. So anyway, so the verse was completed and Jaydev left. He left, and again after some moments, he walked in again, drenched in water because he had gone out to take bath, you remember. Padmavati looked at him, confused. He said, acha, I forgot. So earlier, after completing the verse, the meal was spread out, it was laid out, and he ate the food, and then he left. And then now, coming back to the current scene wherein he entered again drenched in water. Padmavati was stunned, she was confused. He said, hey, you just came, right? You just came, you sat, you wrote something, you ate also, and then you left. And now how come you're walking back again with dripping in water? And Jaydev said, no, I had not come. So both husband and wife, they looked at each other, they both were stunned, and they both realized what had happened in that moment. You understood what had happened in that moment? So Jaydev rushed to the study, he rushed to the study, he opened the book, and he found these words written there. So what had happened? Do I need to spell it out? Krishna had come and Krishna had completed the words for Jayadev. So in Jayadev time, when human felt stuck, divine came and completed the work. Okay, so when the devotion is pure, when the love is pure, God helps you in the ways which is beyond your imagination. In today's time, when you are stuck, when you are not able to complete your sentences, who does that for you? ChatGPT? Yeah, come on. Does it not? It does, right? So ChatGPT completes the sentences for you. Now, I'm nowhere equating डर लगता ऊपर वाले से. I'm nowhere equating Krishna with ChatGPT, but what I'm trying to tell you, see, you need to remember one thing. Krishna completed the verse for Jayadev. Today, ChatGPT completes the sentences or the essays or the assignments for you. But what I need you to remember, students, is this, that the vision was created by Jayadev. Krishna had not written the entire book for him. Krishna had only completed one sentence, okay? So the vision has to be yours. What AI is not able to replace is the originality or the creativity or the emotion which are felt and understood only by humans. So AI can write the sentences for you, but it cannot give the meaning to your sentences because it cannot emote. Okay, so the emotion has to be yours. It needs to be you who gives the meaning to the creation. Am I making any sense? So from this story, what I need you to remember is ChatGPT had not, or the Krishna had not written this entire book. Okay, so if you take that lesson ahead as a student, I think I'll be very glad somebody as responsible for students' growth. If you have understood the lesson from this story, I would like, अच्छा मैंने उसका use ही नहीं किया. Okay, slide changer. Do we have one? It is there. Okay, my next story, just a two, is about. Can you guess? Who's there on the screen? Narad Muni. That was an easy guess. And, hey, not bad. I heard the correct answer, Abhi. Valmiki. Good. Have I told you this story before? No, good. So my next story is about Valmiki. Before Valmiki came to known as Valmiki, he was known as Ratnakara. Ratnakara was a forest robber. So his job was to rob people who would travel through the forest and rob them of their belongings and the money and whatsoever. Okay, and to an extent that he used to kill people. And violence for him was, there was no emotion attached to it. Basically, he was very practical and he was hardened and he was unquestioning. He had adopted violence as a way of life because he thought that, hey, this is the only way in which I can make my family sustain. So it's very practical and very logical. So that was his take towards violence. Now one day what happened, Narad Muni was walking through the forest and Ratnakara made him stop and he was obviously about to rob Narad Muni or about to kill him as well. And Narad Muni said, listen, before you move ahead, I have just one question for you. So you are committing all these sins for your family, but will your family share the burden of your sins? And Valmiki Ratnakara said, of course. Think again. So he goes home and check with his family members that I'm, doing all this for you. Will you share the burden of my sins? And family said, hey boss, so sorry, that's not happening. Now that broke something inside him. And he came back to Narad Muni and said that today I realize how wrong I was. I was doing this all for my family, but they were very selfish, if I may say so. And now what do? How do I repent And Narad Muni said that, you sit down and chant Ram, 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 Ram. And his tongue was so habitual of violence and so habitual of using that kind of language that Ram, Ram is something that did not come out of his mouth. So he said, okay, let's make it a little easy. You say Mara, Mara, Mara instead of Ram, Ram, Ram. Mar dunga, mar diya is something that he used to say in day in and day out. Okay, so Mara Mara was easy for him. So he started chanting Mara Mara, and after some time, like years of worship, Mara Mara became Ram Ram Ram. And then mountain of Anti-Hill, which is called as Valmika in Sanskrit, a mountain of Anti-Hill was developed around his body, and that's how the name became Valmiki. He had still not become Maharshi Valmiki, he had just become Valmiki. From Ratnakara to Valmiki. So what happened? He was a transformed, he was a disciplined and inwardly quiet man. But there was still something extremely essential which was missing in him, and that was emotion. Okay, emotion, sense of expression, that was still missing in him. And how that transformation was brought about is my real story. So one day he was standing on the banks of river Tamsa, and that's when he watched two birds, conch birds. They were flying so much in love and deeply inseparable. And that's when an arrow came and hit the male bird. The female bird was in so much sorrow, so much pain. She cried so hard that it broke through the stillness of the jungle, stillness of the forest. And Valmiki was so sad. He was so anguished. He was so angry that these words came out of his mouth. Ma nishada pratistham tvamagamaha shashvatihi sama, which loosely translate into, O hunter, may you never get respect and maybe peace for endless years in your life. So basically it was a curse that had come out of Valmiki's mouth. And as soon as these words were spoken by him, he was stunned, he was shocked. Why? Because these words had fallen into a perfect meter, and he had never studied poetry or structure or language. Now this was something he has never learned. He had never studied, no formal education. So these words came out from a depth that he did not know exist inside him. My lesson to you, the lesson that I want you to take from this story is, today we are standing at a juncture wherein, again, AI completes the sentences for us. You give an idea and then it expands on the idea, okay? Basically, it is not expanding our hands, it is expanding our thinking. But the point is, Valmiki is called, and that's when he became Maharshi Valmiki. Okay, why? Because then Brahma came in front of him and said that whatever you have just said is the first shloka of Sanskrit language. And Valmiki is called as Adi Kavi, Adi Mitlab, the first of the Kavis. He is known as the first of the Kavis because he gave the first shloka ever existed in the language, and Brahma said that now you will go on to write the biggest epic of human civilization, which was Ramayana. Okay, which was Ramayana. So basically, the first shloka of the biggest epic of our civilization came from a place of human emotion, human sadness, human anger or anguish. It did not come from a copy-paste space. You know what I'm trying to say? So maybe you write some sentences and ChatGPT or AI complete those sentences for you. Maybe you give few prompts and then it writes the entire assignment for you. But always remember, if you want to become irreplaceable, there is something which AI is not able to do, which is human empathy and compassion. Now, Ramayana was born not out of calculations. The shloka was not born out of calculation. The shloka was born out of compassion. Okay? So, unless you have this compassion, you possibly are replaceable. Although sir or maybe the speakers, who you will have opportunity to listen to throughout the day will tell you more because they know more than me as far as AI is concerned. I have a raw understanding. So, but this is something I can say with certainty. Okay. So if compassion is not there, if you're not able, so basically your real challenge is not just to embrace technology. Your real challenge today is how to remain human in this world of technology. Am I making sense? Okay. This was my last slide. Yeah. So my, इसको switch off कर सकते हैं. So my plan was to tell you these two stories, but as I stand here, मुझे एक तीसरी याद आ गई. Do you mind telling me that one as well? So just 2 minutes I'll take, and yeah, maybe I would like to tell you this one as well. You know, when Ved Vyasa, sage Ved Vyasa, was writing Mahabharata, not writing Mahabharata, he thought of the epic, and then he thought that I would like to write this epic. It was very complicated. You all have read Mahabharata, you all have watched Mahabharata on television, so you know that it's a complicated story, right? So he thought that, you know, it is very difficult for me to write something which is so complicated and so difficult. So he reached out to Lord Ganesha, the Lord of wisdom and intellect. He said, hey, I need your help. Could you please write this epic? Ganesha said, okay, I don't mind that, but I have a condition that you have to. So basically the plan was that Vyasa would narrate and Ganesha would write. Okay, Naresha's speed is like supersonic, so he would write. Ganesha put a condition which was that I would write, but you have to speak non-stop. If you stop, I will stop writing. So you have to narrate the story non-stop. Vyasa said, okay, a little difficult, but he said to Ganesha, fine, but I have a counter condition, which is you cannot write a shloka until you fully understand the meaning of it. Ganesha said, deal. Okay, and that's how they started working together or collaborating together. Now, whenever Vyasa would need little time to think of the story ahead, he would create a very complicated Sanskrit verse, a very layered Sanskrit verse, so that Ganesha would need little time to understand the meaning of it. So, and that's how Vyasa bought time to think of the story ahead or think of the narration or the structure ahead. So that's how Mahabharata was written. Why I told you this story? That this story is about collaboration. Collaboration between the creation and the interpretation. Between the, wisdom and understanding. So today, again, you are at a juncture wherein your work will be super efficient, faster, maybe better in quality. I'm using the word maybe because that's condition applied, okay? Maybe better in quality if you understand how beautifully this collaboration may work for you, okay? So basically, yes, AI can write things faster for you, completes assignment faster for you, but that word needs to be yours. That interpretation needs to be yours. And the meaning that you assign to whatever output has been generated, that meaning has to be yours. If you are not doing that, we are ensuring our own downfall. And maybe we have decided to kind of meet dinosaurs up there. Maybe we'll become archaic, okay? So I think these three small stories I wanted to bring to you, and these were my 3 lessons, and I hope you kind of liked it. Thank you so much. That's all from my side. Welcome again, sir. And yes, looking forward to this half of day of, knowledge packed day. And as I said, these people are the stalwarts as far as the AI world is concerned. And the light that they are going to throw and the wisdom they are going to bring out to us is super essential. Okay, you'll be a good audience? I'm sure you will be. Okay, so yeah, Alok sir, over to you.
Well, thank you so much. A wonderful storytelling session incorporating our ancient archives and our current situation that we are in. Okay, I won't waste much time. My only request is to make this interactive because that's what the speaker also wants, because he is spending his time, energy, and most important, he has agreed to share knowledge. And I would request all of you to be as attentive as possible, listen to him, make notes. You all have got smartphones. I am sure they would be on a silent or a switch off mode. If they're on a switch off mode, you can put them on if you want to take any photographs on the screen, the presentation, if some points you would like to take. This is getting recorded and the institute can also provide it to you when you need it. Okay, our first keynote for the morning. Girish Gokhale, Head of Data Practice from Bajaj Life Insurance Limited, and his topic is AI, an essential factor in digital transformation for BFSI. Girish, floor is all yours. Someone's coming.
Bari. 9. Yes. Yep. Okay. Am I audible? Yes. Good morning to everyone. Good morning. So today the keynote is about how AI is changing our world. I come from financial services background, so I wanted to talk about this particular topic with each of you. I think Shikha ma'am started with a verse and the Ramayana related story, how it came about. It looks like, you may think that we have coordinated. So I start with this, the journey. Vidya dadati vinayam, vinayat yati patratam, patratvad dhanam apnoti, dhanat dharmam tata sukham. What is this verse talking about? Since ancient Indian time, we have known for the knowledge giving us all the prosperity and all things that we want in our life. So this could be a journey how with knowledge we achieve prosperity and development and all that. Now we are at the juncture where the knowledge itself is getting derived or transformed by machines, and that is inflection point, I would say. Why I picked journey, because when we get into financial services, we get into a journey with customers. So customer has a life cycle in financial services. There are 6 stages of life cycle in financial services, which starts with, if I want to buy something, a financial product, some of you might have purchased or gone ahead, purchased some financial product, or might have gone with the educational loan as well, right? So in the banking and finance sector, we start with awareness, discovery. If I want to buy a mutual fund or I want to buy a policy, I need to be aware, why do I need that? There is a discovery, which company has a good product, what are the features of the product. So that is where we start, right? Right at the stage 1. Then considering the different options, we evaluate. Certain products have good features, certain products are not so good, impressive features. So we do the evaluation, we interact with the representatives of the organization in this stage, that is the second stage. Then we follow the process of applying for that particular product, which is when the financial organization collects information about us being a customer. And based on the information that they have about us, they will decide whether to let you on board or not on board. If we talk about an education loan, they will look at the possibility that how this loan would get repaid later. If it's a life insurance policy, it will be seen that, you know, how long this customer could be served and benefited from. So based on that, some decisions are made. In financial world, we call it underwriting. Underwriting means assessing the risk and then accordingly taking the decision. Based on the decision in the stage 3, the customer is onboarded, then starts the policy or the customer servicing journey or the bank customer servicing journey, where there is engagement. You will be notified about your EMI, you will be notified about when it is going to be due, you will be notified about when the premium is going to be due for a policy, or if it's a mutual fund, you will be notified for your SIP, please maintain adequate balances in the account, you know, all those kind of interactions, right? So that is the stage 4. Customer may want to use certain applications, log on to the portal, look at the balances, statements, so there is usage. And then if you like the services of the organization, you will continue to be with that particular business. So you express loyalty. If you don't like services, you may want to leave the particular business and move on with some other product. So in those cases, business proactively tries to retain you. So there is something called retention. And when your loan gets paid completely, then your financial transaction is complete. Now you come to the exit stage. So this is a typical customer life cycle. That is also a journey. The next journey is, I have illustrated here, lending journey. Over here there is insurance journey. If you look at this, these are the areas that I spoke of. Credit assessment in case of loan. Then there is a important step of approval of offer, where bank gives us a letter that yes, your loan is approved. Now you can start processing at maybe your institution regarding taking admission and all that. I'm referring to the education loan. So don't want to overwhelm each of you with this graphic. Of course, AI has helped me, get this graphic. I had to do some bit of prompt engineering, and there are different types of AI that are coming now. Some will give you images, some will give you videos. So I did some prompt engineering, and I have got this image to illustrate to you what is the journey. So in financial services, we call this as customer journey for onboarding the customer, where we are saying that some decision of either approval of loan or approval of policy will happen, and the customer is onboarded. There is then the repayment and claims related stuff, which is coming as a second part of the journey. Now we call this as servicing journey, where my loan disbursement happens. I may want to get the part disbursement. First half fees for the education is due. I apply to the bank, and they send the first installment, quarterly installment or half yearly installments. And then there is repayment servicing of the loan, which is the servicing side of lending. Then the in insurance journey, if I have bought an insurance policy, I need to pay premiums. So I get intimation about premium payment. I get options of whether I want to go to the branch, or I want to do it online, or I want to do it from my mobile app. And then there is claim. Many of us buy mobile phones, right? Cover, extended cover for the mobile, the screen damage cover for the mobile. That is a kind of insurance product, right? If your screen damages, you have to place a claim to the cover extending company. They will process the claim and do the assessment and either pay you back or reject the claim. So that's also a financial product. So this is the servicing journey that I wanted to give you a glimpse of. There are touch points that are depicted here. We have digital channels, online portal, mobile apps. Now AI is, intruding in these areas. We get data analytics. How many customers are accessing my portal? How many are using my mobile app? All that is analyzed internally by the organization. It is also looked for compliance. People are not doing fraud. So those kind of assessments are also done. And there is a call center where you connect on an IVR and request for some service. So these are the areas of points that are also seen in the typical financial services journey. Digital transformation, we have seen there is a journey in digital transformation also. That's why I have brought it here. We have seen two waves of transformation so far, right? When computers came, maybe in 90s, everything which was physical in the files got converted. It was called digitization. Everything was getting scanned, uploaded, workflows were there to do the processes. Earlier, in a bank, we have to go from one table to another table to process the things. We didn't have ATMs also, right? We have tellers. So you fill a deposit slip, take your cash to the teller, and then he will deposit. Or vice versa, you fill a slip for withdrawal, and he will give you cash in your hand. Now you go to ATM, withdraw money, right? So digitization was the first wave which changed how we live in some or the other way. That time also there was this anxiety that bank employees will think that what will happen to me or my job or my family, because computer is doing everything which we are supposed to do. Then came around 2000, maybe last decade, digital transformation, where it was more intense during the COVID period, because nothing physically was possible or feasible, or prohibited rather. So every journey of customer interaction was getting converted into a digital interaction. So we got portals. Sell was also happening through portals or maybe tabs, etc. So that was second wave. Second wave also focusing on how can we make responsive websites, responsive mobile apps, etc. Now we are standing at the third wave, where AI is coming with complete paradigm shift. Why I'm saying this is paradigm shift? Because it is not going to be automating something that we have been doing now. Now it is in an organization, how the organization thinks, decides, measures. Based on that, the responses are going to get defined, and that is why we are saying that it is going to shift the enterprise brain. Why brain? Brain is sensing, thinking, reacting, responding. So that is the journey that we are on to. Okay. Just for interaction, pop quiz. How many stages are there in the customer life cycle that we just saw? Okay, you are attentive. Where decision making happens in the lending or insurance industry? This one? Yeah. So credit and risk assessment only does the assessment. The actual decision is loan and policy approval, right? In any financial service business, that decision is important. We look up to that. Then the third one is when servicing gets over in lending or insurance. The first option? Right. So if the claim is settled, my policy purpose is done, right? If the loan is closed, my purpose is done. I have repaid back the loan. Bank says thank you to me. I say thank you to bank, right? So this is about the journey. I wanted to quickly take you through the journey. The next part is keep evolving. There is a Sanskrit verse for that, charai veti, right? So what does it mean? We have to live and keep evolving. So we'll look at how technology has evolved. This is in the reverse chronological order. If you look at, we had software development. India flourished in the IT services industry in the last couple of decades. We have mature software platforms and ecosystems. Then came the chip development. Chips became thinner. We got more powered processors, and we also got nowadays IoTs, transducers. That development happened. Then we got the internet revolution. We got Google. We got internet rampantly spread across all the nook and corners of our day-to-day life. After that came the massive data availability, because with the internet and the systems, we were capturing everything. We were creating portals. We were generating a lot of data with the instruments. So there is a data burst that has happened over maybe last 5 to 10 years. And now we are standing at artificial intelligence and machine learning. So in technology, it is often seen that technology initially develops in different forks. which are totally unrelated to each other. But then over a period of time, it starts showing convergence. Different folks together will start resulting into a systemic change, right? So that is what AI is also going to do with us. AI native transformation is getting driven by the convergence of these technology developments. Rewire brain of the firm. When I was thinking about, what should I present, I connected back. Everybody knows Dumbledore. He took a memory and put it inside a pond. So I tried to do that with myself. I had been, in information systems masters. I, came across a model which is more focusing on operations research related model. Stafford Beer is the name of the author. He introduced a viable system model. He wrote a book in 1981, which is published. It said Brain of the Firm. The name of the book is Brain of the Firm. What he essentially, has discussed in that particular book is traditional hierarchical management structures are too slow and rigid for complex environment. So the thought comes, first of all, is look at an organization as a living organism, right? If it is a living organism and the environment is the ecology in which it has to sustain, survive for living, then it has to be agile, adaptive. Often in the organizational context, there is inertia to change, rigidity to the ways and processes that we think of, and because of that, this symptom appears, right? The management structures are too slow and rigid for complex environments. Instead, we should have self-regulating adaptive systems. Information today, we call it data. If it is meaningful, I call it information. If I am gathering, let's say, data about each student, and then I do some analysis and I say, oh, this particular age group is the most, found a group of students, then I have some intelligence on it. So I call it information. So information is flowing in each and every transaction of an organization today. So in 1981, when we didn't have computers, when we didn't have internet, when we didn't have so advanced chips, somebody like Stafford Beer has seen that information is lifeblood of an organization and enables ability to adapt. There is something called as systems thinking in the information system paradigm. So these thoughts are coming from that paradigm, okay? Effective management is about designing information and decision systems for survival in complex environment. Operations research is also coming from the supply chain management, military operations. Recently we have seen in the war there has been a mishap, and now it is being thought through that it could be because of wrong data or old data, those kind of things, right? So decision making is very critical. It is also dependent on what is the recency of the data that we are consuming. So AI native transformation has to be done. You don't have a choice in a financial enterprise. How do we go about this? Digital transformation is not just adopting technology, right? We don't want only automation. I am doing a form filling physically today. Let's do it online. And then I am AI transformed. No, I am not. So that requires complete overhaul of our organization. The objective has to be to improve customer experience, reduce costs, and building long-term competitive advantage. But how do we do this? So there has been a terminology called business process reengineering, which used to do radical transformation in business models or enterprises. AI native digital transformation demands to do the reengineering. Okay, we need to rethink, go back to drawing board. What we are doing, this is how we should be doing. So there is a separate discipline of business process reengineering or Six Sigma or quality, where you go and look for the entire process, shadow the process, make a workflow out of it, then you measure, do time and motion study, and find out faults where the process needs to be tweaked so that we can reorganize it back to deliver the quality. AI native transformation is actually pushing the management to do this. Only that is the way we will be able to make difference with AI native transformation. How it is different from earlier waves? This is going to give new business models. So I was going through recent developments. Have you heard of Servam AI? There is a lot of stuff coming on social media. Recent AI conference that happened in Delhi. So Servam AI is helping us create sovereign AI capabilities. There are new businesses or services that are coming in. Normally we want to go on cloud. We go either on AWS or Google or on Microsoft, or which is called Azure. But in case of AI, now Government of India is also very sensitive about it. They want to create these capabilities within the country. So there is a to acquire GPUs, there is a race to acquire data centers in India. So that kind of development is happening. But it is opening, so every such situations opens more opportunities. So what we should be looking at is what is there as an opportunity, right? So data centers are being developed within the country, and GPU as a service is a model that is coming, because GPU is a very costly and high in demand kind of resource. So there is a model that is coming that you lend a GPU as a service and do your processing. Then there are local language models which are getting developed. Initially, when ChatGPT came up, everybody was looking to converse in English. But now we have certain initiatives in India where local language generative AI is also coming in place. So there are these kind of opportunities that are opening up in the industry. What type of AI being consumed and how it is consumed, where it is consumed? So how do we go about that development in an enterprise? It is very important to widely cover the enterprise areas or functions and work on different KPIs. So typically an AI transformation has these areas to cover. The financial performance. If I am applying an AI model for making a difference in a particular area, I will be asked for what is the impact on the revenue growth, or either it is revenue growth or it is cost reduction. So either it affects the top line or it affects the bottom line. Then there is operational performance. AI can bring productivity improvements or faster delivery cycles. So if I am doing a process today from the time of customer logged in the application for a loan up to it actually gets approved, what is the turnaround period? That period is reducing today because of AI development. So these are the areas it is going to influence: faster delivery cycles, customer outcomes. I don't think everybody likes, when we call up a call center and AI comes and speaks to you. The emotion aspect, the human touch aspect, we always look for, right? But from the organization's perspective, it is going to change the delivery cycles and productivity improvements. So we will be forced to have interactions with AI as well. Customer satisfaction is a very important factor, and AI has a habit of hallucination, right? So even while taking a help for this PowerPoint slide, I was giving some prompts, and then the AI was going somewhere else, right? So I have to again put a guardrail, come back, bro, let me manage this, right? So AI has a habit of hallucination. We need to ground it always, and that is how we will be able to still achieve customer satisfaction. So whenever we deploy any AI-based application, we always introduce a human control or sampling, or we ground it to our own data and not let it consume data from open internet or public domain. So these kind of things are required, and that is where customer satisfaction is going to improve. Digital adoption. We still find maybe in tier 1 cities, we are very savvy with mobile phones, computer, internet, etc. But as you move away from India to Bharat, there are still physical processes happening. They are still in the digitization wave, or maybe the digital transformation wave, and not yet there in the AI wave, right? But I'm sure the local language developments and the mobile and internet penetration is soon going to bridge that gap. So digital adoption is an important area to look for. Digital talent development. This is, though I have mentioned it the last, I think this is the most felt and impact of AI. So flatter organization structures. So how organization is looking at this is an opportunity to reduce cost. If a department runs for certain operations with 10 people, with a hierarchy of reportees, etc., they are looking to have more effective and flatter span. So there is no hierarchical structure coming in. Why? Because people are getting assisted with AI agents. So we saw AI, then we saw agentic AI. So it has evolved from AI to agentic AI. What does an agentic AI do? It divides a task in chunks and then process each task one by one, right? So agentic AI is going to create opportunity to increase productivity. I would not say replace people, because that is not what will happen. We saw last 2 waves of digitization, right? And we have rose to the opportunity, right? So flatter organization structure, there will be meritocratic culture in the organization, because the faster delivery life cycles, right? Everything will take much more speed than what it is today. And there is empowerment to teams and open dialogue. Now, I still want to dwell with this particular area more. What are the typical roles that we get to see? Are you aware of words like business analyst or data analyst? Have you guys heard any roles? So what is your understanding of different roles in the industry? Can anybody say something? What you feel that I should be going and doing in an organization tomorrow when you join a private organization? Anybody? So business analyst, I'll help you. Business analyst does the requirement gathering when we do automation cycles, or it interacts with the business representative, documents their requirement, puts it into a document, we call it as business requirement document, BRD, or business requirement specifications, right? Which is then passed on to the IT unit. IT unit will have somebody going through it and assessing and how do I automate these processes, right? So that there comes analyst from the technical side, right, who understands technology better than the business person, or sometimes this role is also with the business analyst, right? Then there is a developer who does the development coding for modifications. These days, with the AI and before AI, we saw the burst of data, right? So we have another role that has come in play as data engineer. Data engineer is playing with data, massaging data, so he understands data more, right? This is another role that you guys will come across when you connect with industry in the future, right? So data engineer does the development as well. Then there is data analyst. From the data, somebody who is used to work in Excel earlier, nowadays we have visualization tools, right? We have Power BI, we have Tableau, we have Looker, all these things are helping us analyze our data. Many of you might have worked on certain data sets to create graphs and dashboards. So data analyst or a business intelligence professional, right? So these are the roles that are there in the technology side. How they are going to get impacted by this development. So for a business analyst, going and understanding, doing interaction with the business person and then documenting a BRD, now getting assisted by an AI agent, okay, agentic AI. So agentic AI will assist the business analyst to create the BRDs, and it is affecting this KPI. And how organizations are looking at it, how a CTO looks at it, that it is going to improve my productivity. If a BA is doing 50 BRDs in a month with assistance from AI, he will start doing 100 BRDs in a month, right? Same way, the developer who knows coding today is also going to get assisted with the AI. You all of you would have heard about Anthropic. Anthropic did some public comment in the public domain. It impacted the IT services shares in the market, right? So there is anxiety and fear, but there is a lot of opportunity if we take it head on. So if today I am coding in, let's say, X language, and I want to do it in Y language, I can't do it because I need to know Y language today. But with AI, you can do it. AI can translate your X language script into Y language script with much ease, right? So So that kind of opportunity is going to come in our transformation. Internally, what we have done is we had lots and lots of code written in PLSQL, which is a Oracle database programming language, right? And we had to upgrade our application onto a cloud-ready stack. We wanted to have it coded entirely in Python or PySpark, right? We used AI to do this transition. In this process, it also opened up opportunity for the developers to understand the new language and understand how it is coded, right? So those kind of opportunities are going to be there. It's a tough task for HRs of the organization, the management of the organization, but it is tremendous opportunity if we take it head on. Pop quiz. What is the lifeblood of organization? Information, right? We are in the information age. I would rather say now we are shifting to AI age. Now, what must organizations become to survive complex environments? Right. Have you guys heard of VUCA world? Yes. So VUCA world is that complex environment that every organization faces, and that's why self-regulating and adaptive systems are required. The brain of modern enterprise is mainly built using data and AI systems. So we come to scaling technology, data and AI. So ekam shastram adhiyano nayati shastra nishchayam. By studying only one subject, we cannot do good decision. Okay, that's the meaning of the first line. Bahubhihi saha samvadat nirnayah suspashto bhavet. When we study different domains and then decide, then our decision capability becomes much better, clearer. Nirnayah suspashto bhavet. So we looked at the journey of the enterprise and different stages in that. This is the different domains of data that an enterprise in financial services need to capture. We have customer or party data. Lots of us do eKYC today in the banks, in financial services processes. So there is identity and KYC, know your customer and compliance processes related data. Then there is risk and underwriting related data. There is product and pricing related data, financial accounts. So any business transaction on the back end is supported by accounting, policy related data. There is channel interaction. If I go to a branch and I speak to a sales guy and I come back home, right? He doesn't sit. He keys in my information that this person came, he was interested to buy an FD or buy a policy or buy a mutual fund, and he uploads that as a lead. Then you start getting calls, right? Sir, I got a lead that you were interested in doing so and so thing, right? So channel interaction is also data. Organizations capture this data. Then there is, when we actually applied for a product, there is application proposal. So it asks us few questions that why do we need this for, particularly I am coming from life insurance industry. We are notorious to know the length of our forms, right? If I want to buy a policy, I have to first fill a 10-page document. So it gathers lots of information about our financial behavior. Then every day, I think after Note Bandi, all of us are using UPI so much, right? So many transactions are happening on UPI. UPI payment transactions is also data. Now, earlier we were not able to get the financial transaction data for a different section or segment of economy. With UPI kind of advancement, even those sections data is now available. There is micro finance banking. Have you guys heard of AU small bank? You know, they are serving the microfinancing segment. UPI is kind of generating that data. So earlier I spoke of, when transformation happens, new business opportunities come. This is an example of that. But that is dependent on data of payments. Document content, whatever identity document we give, that gets scanned and uploaded, right? From there, data is captured. How many of you have heard about Sybil or cover facts? There are bureaus which generate data about how our financial behavior is, right? That data contains my telephone number, how many loans I have taken, how much of those is paid or defaulted, how many telephone numbers I have as well, what are my recent addresses, have I got any other financial products like my life insurance or health insurance, all that. So based on that information, the risk and underwriting guys are going to know what is the financial behavior of a person. So those kind of data points are getting captured. Then there is analytics done on top of that. Analytics cannot be done on raw data. Data needs to be massaged, transformed, brought into a specific structure. You might be studying statistics or data science. Even in data science, there are concepts of scaling and feature engineering. So what it requires to do is bring a data in specific format, and only then we are able to apply a model or a statistical curve to it. And risk, fraud, financial crimes, this data is also gathered. In insurance industry, there is IRDA supported company, which is IIB. They gather data of insurance policies from different insurance organizations, okay? And that data is then used for underwriting purpose, okay? So these are various subjects or data domains that we need to capture in a financial services enterprise. Now, how do we go about scaling technology, data, and AI? So, cross-functional teams, digital teams. It is very important to have, we started this session with the story of Ganesha and Vyas Maharshi, and we learned that collaboration, right? Collaboration between two team members, or the context was collaborating with AI. This is a collaboration between various departments and teams to achieve the scaling of technology and AI transformation. So we definitely have dependency on cloud infrastructure, AI models, and data platforms. Artificial intelligence is used to generate business insight, automate decisions, optimize operations, and create new digital experience. So generate business insights is, there is something called as customer segmentation that we do in any financial services. We segment the customer by age, by locality, by their occupation, then their financial information, income, salary, business income. So based on that, certain insights are generated. For example, if we want to sell protection plan or risk cover young customers is the customer base that we would propose it to. Then there is annuity plans. We would not propose to a young customer, right? We would propose it to a pension plan. We will propose it to a middle age or retiring age customer. So those kind of insights are generated. How are we using AI in all this? So there is generative AI, there is vision AI, right? Then there is different LLM models which are used for language translation, etc., or voice translation. So there are different opportunities in different areas. The vision AI is used to change the video or the camera inputs, right? There is a new business model that does the visual dubbing of the video that we have based on the local language that person is translated to. So these kind of business opportunities are coming. We do call center calling. The call recordings are also leading to information like certain customers may be interested in some type of product. So call recordings are analyzed, and then from that leads are generated to generate a business opportunity. So those kind of initiatives are taken up in the organization, and the most important thing is we need to have the recent data and the systems to process the recent data. So this is the a diagram that represents different components of how the AI native digital transformation is getting architected in the organization. So we have the digital domain here, where core business applications and omni-channel. When I say omni-channel, that means my mobile app, my portal, and different businesses. I may have partner-based business. I may have my own proprietary sales team. I may have bank-based business. So those to manage the journeys, we have seen the journeys earlier, right? So each of these channels would have their own journeys, which will be managed by the applications through the digital platform. Those applications generate data, which we have seen different data domains a few slides ago. That data has to be processed in the data platform. Data platform today is supported by data lake or a warehouse, and it takes care of the data quality, observability and governance. And then on top of that, AI platform is coming into play, which is where we do machine learning, or we do AI models, or we do LLM grounding, customization for analytics and insight. What is the tech stack that we need for this? Enterprises that continue evolving thrive. Those that remain static become obsolete. This is again the same theme. It applies to each of us as well. Okay, so it's not only enterprises. If we don't continue evolving, we will not thrive. So the technology stack. The infra is supported by cloud infrastructure. We have cloud accelerators, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. There is technology for data lakehouse. We have data lakehouse on Snowflake or Amazon Redshift, or we have data lake on Azure as well. If you go here, this is Okta, Ranger, and HashiCorp Vault. These technology stacks are helping do the security tightening of the platforms. Power BI, Looker, these are Tableau are visualization tools. BI and visualization tools sit on top of the Lakehouse stack, which also has Databricks, Snowflake, and data processing and transformation is done through tools like Apache Spark, DBT, Trino, Presto. These are data processing tools. So in my generation, we had heard of SQL, MS SQL Server, Oracle, right? In your generation, these are the selling hotcakes. And after we do transformation, the massage data has to get consumed by the digital application. So there is an integration layer between the transformed data and the digital application, which is called as application programming interface or API. Many of you may be knowing it as a web service that is also sitting in between. There are AI and ML models which we develop, and we need to host them. Those are typically hosted very close to the digital applications so that the response times are faster. So AI and ML platforms, feature stores are shown near the API gateway. This is the technology stack with which the AI native transformation is being done in the financial services enterprise. Pop quiz, how do we scale AI? Which of these is most important for scaling AI in an enterprise? So data platform, AI mainly helps organization to automate decisions and generate insights. Where are machine learning models typically built and trained? So the answer is C. That's all from my side.
All right. Any questions? We can take one. Can we have the mic sent, please? Just raise your hand. I'll have one from this side. The young lady, I'll give you her mic.
Good morning, sir. My name is Snehal Prankar. I would like to ask you that you just now spoke on CIBIL score and risk assessment related things. So what is the role of AI in credit and risk assessment in the sector?
So the digital transformation, the second wave of digital transformation that we saw, that has already started gathering the data that are financial transactions with financial services industry. Now this gathered data is giving an input to define what is the financial behavior of a customer. Okay, so I recall one of the foreign banks. Okay, when it is gathering data about a customer, it's a credit card bank. Okay, on the credit card, whatever expenditure we are doing is getting classified. Okay, some of the banks are giving a insight statement also to customers that you spend so much in departmental store in a month, you spend so much in consumer goods, you spend so much, that kind of analysis. But along with that, some banks are also capturing you spend so much into medicines, you spend so much into hospitalization or into drugs. Some people do such expenditure, right? So that kind of intelligence is now getting available in the data. It only needs to, we make buttermilk and we take out the butter out of it, right? So exactly that is how the butter, the essence is taken out from the data there is a statement called you torture your data enough and it will speak, right? So that is exactly what happens when bureaus like CIBIL are capturing data. There is a risk score calculated. Based on risk score, yes. So based on risk score, your financial behavior could be segmented. So are you a very reliable, good financial behavior customer, then your score will be much higher, CIBIL score will be higher. Bank will allow you to discuss the interest rates also when you are buying a loan from them, right? But if the CIBIL score is not great, then bank will say, I will not lend you money. So those kind of decisions are being taken based on the data that is captured. And the most critical part is data is not sitting outside. Data is in the organization. My existing customer data I already have in an organization. So that is where the capability to do the data engineering, massaging, and taking out the butter, the essence of the buttermilk, right? That comes into play. And that's the area about risk and credit assessment.
All right, well, there was one more on that side, just one question. I think there's a mic there.
Good morning, sir. I am Ishwari Tale. And sir, you have shared with us some of the technical skills and platforms. But my question to you is that apart from the technical skills, what are the other skills which are required to sustain in this data-driven and AI-influenced industry?
So the first and foremost, which I didn't speak of, is prompt engineering. You need to understand. Maybe the earlier days, we used to do search engine search, right, for certain things. So there was also a specific, I would not say science, it's an art, how to type what keywords and then the search engine will give me the outcome, right? On similar lines, prompt engineering also a new skill set that is coming, which isn't technical, it is a soft skill, right? Apart from that, knowing various business models of the industry or how stuff works, what are the processes. For example, if I look at buying a car, now if I want to buy a car, what are the various steps that we go through, this awareness will take you distance. So for students, if they want to knowing technology, knowing platform, knowing specific tool is one area which I covered predominantly. But knowing the journey, knowing the process, you may be, in your own life, you may be already part of some business processes. So how those experiences will help you is also an area to be aware of.
Okay, so thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I am aware that there are a lot of questions still around. Sir will be there for a while, so we'll take it offline with him. We have a next speaker also waiting to share his knowledge. So you could have more newer questions coming up. Is Vishal Verma here? Vishal sir? Okay, if you could just step up to present mementos to Girish ji on stage, please. Vishal ji, you will be on stage. Can I okay, Girish ji also, please be on stage. Can I get Mr. Singh, Professor Singh, sir? Can you join on stage? Okay, gentlemen, you'll be on stage for a few more moments. Professor Vishal, sir, you'll be on stage for a few more moments. Can I have Jaideep Pawarji on stage, please, for a few moments before the presentation? Sir, आप आइए. Okay. Sir, आप आइए. All right, you'll have to open it at your end, not the audience side. Sir. अपनी तरफ करो. एक मिनट. All right, that's the logo unveiling of the 25th edition of the Asia Pac HRM Congress. It will happen in Bangalore in September at the Taj MG Road. The journey has been 25 years long for this event of ours that we do. Thank you so much for doing us. All right, you may finally take your seats. Okay, after Girish, our next speaker walking up is Mr. Jaideep Pawar, founder and CEO of Gram ePay, which is the Gram Digital Innovation Services. And his topic is the AI revolution in BFSI banking, payments, and insurance reimagined. Jaideep ji has a very tough job. First of all, he has to present so well that you guys applaud for him, because no one applauded now. This was a forced applause because I said, अभी presentation होगा, आप लोग evaluate करेंगे, फिर अपनी राय देंगे. The new generation of India.
पीपीटी खोल वीडियो भी है पीपीटी खोल और वीडियो भी पीपीटी के अंदर भी वीडियो है चलेगा हाँ सामने दिखेगा मुझे Hi, good morning. So Girish has done a lot of work easy for me. So I will be talking about the impact of AI in banking, financial services, and insurance. Largely from a business perspective, I'm not a technology guy. While I am operating into technology space for last 30 years. Just to give you a brief background, I'm a founder and CEO of a company called Gram ePay. Our name is Gram Digital Innovation Services Private Limited. We largely work into digitization of rural India. We work with 600 plus cooperative banks, helping them go digital. And I'm myself a civil engineer from Pune. SIBM, I've done an MBA, and then again an MBA from Harvard Business School, USA. And with over almost 28 years of corporate experience, largely running platform businesses globally, not a techie, but I have just a business understanding. So whatever I speak will be largely from a layman perspective, which will help you understand how you can evolve in a generation which is fast-paced, driving innovation using AI as a subject. So just to give you a hindsight and a background, when my parents used to bank, they were largely dependent on physical infrastructure, which was a physical banking. And I'm sure you guys have never visited a bank these days until and unless there is an utmost necessity. But in our cases, when I was studying, when I was doing my engineering or when I was graduating, we had to go to a branch physically. And at that point of time, any financial institution were competing largely for a space, creating a network, which is a distribution network of a branch. That was the model which they were following, and that was the model which was being followed till a couple of years back. People were creating a branch setup, they were creating an infrastructure so that people can walk in and you can open a bank account or offer any financial product or services. Couple of years back, post-COVID, post-demonetization, Honorable Prime Minister Modi has done that transformation by launching some of the innovative products like UPI. I was part of the team which built UPI with NPCI. The company which built UPI was called RS Software, which had mandate, and I was leading that initiative at that point of time. That time, the innovation was largely to help people go digital. And that's when the transformation started in 2017, when the demonetization had happened, to run the business digitally, move from cash economy to a cashless economy or a less cash economy. Just to give you an insight, India at that point of time in 2017, 90% of the business was happening in cash and 10% of the business was happening digitally. When I say business, everything. So people used to go and pay even insurance premium by walking into a branch using a cash. They were not paying digitally. Come 2020, post-COVID, everything moved digital. Entire transaction was happening digitally. And as we speak, India processes 50% of the digital payments across the globe. That is the kind of infrastructure scale which India has built using the infrastructure which was created. And this has been created using 3 layers of the infrastructure. One is Jan Dhan, the Aadhaar-based economy, because every citizen in the country has a digital identity. The second was mobile, and the last was ecosystem which was created because of the digital platforms which was created, and that is primarily because of mobile penetration. So when we say Jan Trinity, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and mobile. Jan Dhan is a Jan Dhan bank account which was created by various banks in the country. Every citizen in the country had a bank account. Then there was an Aadhaar identity which was given, and then most of the citizens have a mobile number now, and they use this. And this created a huge infrastructure analysis, which Girish mentioned some time back, lots of data coming in. And that's where now banks, financial institutions, or any fintech entity is leveraging intelligence which is coming into the ecosystem. And they are creating an intelligent layer to offer various goods and services which can meet your expectation. From a realistic perspective or industry perspective, 700 billion transactions happen daily. 50% of that happens in India. This is a global number. 50% of that, so close to about 350 billion transactions. Even a 5 rupee payment to a chai wala is done digitally these days. So you see the kind of data which is flowing in the ecosystem. With digital transactions, a lot of frauds have started happening. And there is close to about $500 billion fraud which is happening in the ecosystem. So that's where the concern is, where people are now investing time and effort to build the ecosystem. The customer attention span, like you and me or Gen Z people who are there in the ecosystem, who is a large set of customers, the attention span is just 8 seconds on any of the product. So if you are not able to grab attention of a customer in 8 seconds, you will not be able to sell that product to that customer. So that is the insight which is coming in from the ecosystem. And large amount of investment, specifically the domain which I come from, fintech. There is huge amount of investments coming in, $150 billion investments which has come into this ecosystem, and large chunk of that, close to about 80% of that is going towards AI. AI-related products, AI-related developments, AI-related investments which are happening in the ecosystem. So we speak in the domain whenever we click the next big thing for banking perspective. A bank is not only a good product, but it is the speed and trust and personalization which they are going to offer. So the next bank which is going to make a really transformation in the ecosystem is the bank or a fintech institution or a financial institution who is going to offer product at the speed at which within 8 seconds which a customer is expecting, and the product has to be trustworthy, so that in case of if there is an insurance product, the insurance is sold, there has to be a claims which is settled on time. And the last thing is personalization. The product has to meet the expectation and needs of the consumer who is using that product. And while this has largely been covered by Girish, just to give you 3 layers on how business looks at it from an AI perspective, there are 3 specifically engines which are there in the ecosystem. From a BFSI perspective is that the data has to be predicted. The data which comes into the ecosystem, AI should be able to predict the risk which is there in the ecosystem. It should be able to personalize that data, and then using that personalization information, it should be able to automate that decision in the next phase which is there in the ecosystem. And this typically happens in the 3 layer, wherein you create a risk layer, whereas this is a credit score mechanism which is being offered to the consumer, which is largely being used by bureaus or even banks or even fintech entities when they onboard a merchant, someone like a Razorpay or a PhonePe or a Paytm. Even if for deploying a soundbox in a retail shop, they are using a lot of data analytics, and they are doing a lot of data analytics engine. And next thing is hyper personalization for acquisition of customers. So if you are a new to bank customer, what kind of products needs to be cross-sold? Looking at your insights of transaction pattern, which Girish mentioned in the last presentation, they use that data, and that is the kind of product. So if you are doing a lot of wealth management, you are investing in stocks, so maybe some kind of a wealth management product or stock investment products will be offered to you, which will be of interest to you. And then there is something called as conversational AI, which is you can talk to a banking product or a banking app. Hey Siri, tell me what is the bank balance today? Something of that sort, which is now coming up with the ecosystem. The AI technology architecture, typically from a banking perspective, a layman perspective, layers on 3 models. There is something called as generative AI, which is largely focused on customer side of the business. Where there are a lot of faces, something like a ChatGPT or a Gemini tool. These are the front-end models which are there. This runs on a back-end machine learning models which are there in the ecosystem, and this largely depends on a data infrastructure, which is cloud, storage, and it is a huge investment which is there required to build global data centers to run such kind of platforms. So there is huge amount of investment, even Government of India is doing in building such kind of platforms now. Just for your information, Government of Maharashtra is setting up the entire new data center city in Navi Mumbai, which is going to have a hub of large pool of data centers and a large pool of AI engineers sitting out there and building such kind of models. And then there are enabling tools like NLP, computer vision, and RPA, and other allied products and services. From a value driving perspective for an end consumer, how do you look at leveraging the AI? This is a 6-step or 7-step process which we as a banker or a fintech enthusiast use. We try and use AI to discover the product. Largely when a consumer looks at AI, what kind of mutual funds I can invest? That is the question which you can put to a chatbot or to an AI bot. And then the next layer which comes, if you get a right product, how to get that product. For getting that product, you need to do the KYC as per regulatory guidelines, onboarding, and thereafter you need to do a transaction of that product. Once the transaction happens, if you need to leverage that product to have some sort of additional credit, for example, just to give you a use case, if somebody has taken a sound box from a Paytm, that merchant who is a chai wala and he needs an instant credit of say 1 lakh rupees during some emergency, can he get that credit? Can he put in a request in a Paytm app itself and get an instant credit? This is possible now today just using AI tools. And these all tools are not using CIBIL or bureau scores. Paytm is doing disbursements to a merchant on a real-time basis using the alternative credit score on the daily collections which are happening in the sound box. Basis that they are doing in instant credit, and also the recovery happens from the daily collection which is happening. So all those tools are being built. Thereafter, then there is something called as robo-advisory these days. You get an automated call. Many times you would have seen you are getting a call, invest in certain products. All these are again using AI tools. And lastly, you can buy an insurance product using AI engine. So these are the tools which are nowadays being explored, experimented in various financial institutions, still at a very nascent stage, but some of the entities have done very beautiful use cases, which I will share with you. And specifically in banking, the use cases are they are using, for the ecosystem where I work, largely cooperative ecosystem, credit ecosystem, there is very limited pool of data available. In cooperative credit society, the consumers are farmers, large pool of farmers. So they don't have any banking credit history or a CIBIL record or any sort of a credit history, which is not helping them to get a good amount of loan from any of the financial institutions. That is where they use alternative tools like a telecom bill payment data or electricity bill payment data or any other alternative data which can showcase their willingness to make a payment. So these are the tools which are used, and this alternative credit scoring is happening using AI tools. Then there is a neural network which is being used to detect frauds in the ecosystem. You would have seen ads by Airtel that if you get a spam website, you will not be allowed to use that website or link. This is all neural network at backend. Airtel has already flagged a lot of negative or fraudulent websites at their server level. So even if somebody sends you that link, you will not be able to do the transaction. So this happens using AI tool at backend. Some of the banks and financial institutions have started appointing AI relationship managers. So AI relationship managers are being managed by people like you and me. But for example, in ICICI Bank, there are say 1 lakh customers. For that 1 lakh customers, I cannot appoint a 1 lakh relationship manager. So there is an AI bot which is managing say 100,000 odd people. To supervise them, there are 4 to 5 relationship managers which are bucketed in various categories. So if there is AI tool which is not able to support this customer, then the manual intervention comes into picture. And then there is a collections and trajectory analytics. Collections is typically the payment collections which happens in the ecosystem and how it is leveraging. Payments is the large use case because it is spoken globally. We are the market leaders in the space, and we do a lot of digitization. We talk of the way how payments is moving. We are going one step further at GrameenPay with some of our partners, someone like a Miss Call Pay. If time permits, I will try and demonstrate the product to you. The product is so powerful that in a rural India, even if you don't have an internet connectivity, even if you don't have a QR code standing out there, just by using a feature phone product, you will be able to do a transaction on UPI. This product is called as Miss Call Pay. Just like in old days, my parents, if I had to talk, I used to give a missed call to my parents and they used to call me just to avoid. These days, you will not see such kind of scenarios because of thanks to Jio and other telecom companies giving data at a dirt cheap price. But that was the time when per minute call was 70 rupees, 18 rupees. So we had to save lot of money when we were students. So we used to use that missed call. And in rural India, you will still see 80% of the users using feature phone. When I say feature phone, it is not internal enabled. It is basic phone just to give a communication, just to receive a SMS device. And the good part of that phone is that you can just receive a call to a person and you can get an SMS, a transactional SMS. I will see if I can demonstrate the product. So typically in rural India, we have done a pilot in state of Odisha where we have deployed this tool for doing an electricity bill collection. So whenever an electricity bill is generated by Tata Power in state of Odisha, along with that, there is a SMS which goes whenever you get an electricity bill from Mahavitran or in your, you will get your electricity bill is generated. It is so and so. For making a payment, click on this link. You can go and make an online payment. In our program, we have just added an additional number. Call this number. The other option is we also deploy a sticker in rural merchant place, and that number is a unique number. So let me see if it works. So this is a number. So typically the flow is, there is a call which happens to the server. From server you get a call back, and on the call back you will get a voice prompt to make a payment, and once the payment is done, automatically the transaction is debited from your account. So I will see if I can make it in some time. The server seems to be down. In terms of insurance, since we work in rural Maharashtra, we have worked with the government of Maharashtra for the scheme called Gopinath Munde accident insurance program, for which government pays about 100 crore premium to an insurance company. And after paying the premium, the claim servicing part is using AI tool. We have deployed an AI tool for government of Maharashtra in the insurance brokers platform. And using that, the claim processing has become faster. So initially the claim processing rate was just about 55% to 60%. But after deploying the AI tool in this model, we have been able to achieve 85% claims servicing rate. The delay is largely on the farmer side because they are not able to give the documents. Because when you are to process, there is a specific requirement. In case of a death, there has to be an FIR, there has to be clear evidence. Apart from that, we have used drone technology to map the entire rural crop patterns. And using that crop patterns, we have fed that technology's data, that drone's data in an AI tool to generate what is the kind of claims which can come when there is a heavy rainfall or there is a less rainfall, what is the kind of impact which government might have if there is a seasonal impact or a climatic impact. And then there are other tools also which we are looking at, is looking at something like if there is in any specific geography, if there is any specific treatment which is largely being done. For example, in any locality, if dengue treatment is happening on a much wider space, using that tool, we are trying to prevent and inform government that there is a possibility of some dengue fever going on in that locality. Why don't you go and take a feedback of what is actually happening and put in more resources to prevent the further nuances. So these are the kind of tools and technologies which are being used. In India, you have already seen some of the experiments which are being done by some of the banks. HDFC Bank, if you go on HDFC Bank website, you will see EVA chatbot. That becomes your first point of engagement these days. Earlier, it used to be a relationship manager or a personal, but this is EVA chatbot is electronic virtual assistant, and they are handling about 5 million queries with 85% success rate on a daily basis. And they are further putting more and more investments in this chatbot. ICICI Bank has done a different way of AI monitoring. They are doing the AI tool for risk monitoring. If you do any high value transactions, which is not happening in your bank account, be it credit card, debit card, or even UPI, you will suddenly get a call from ICICI Bank call center that you have done this transactions. Have you done this transaction? Please confirm. If yes, put 1. If no, decline. So immediately they put hold on the transactions and the settlement is put on hold. SBI has done an integration with Government of India's tool called Bhashini, which is an Indian developed software, and it is working in regional languages, 13 regional languages, and they have onboarded close to about 40 crore consumers to use this platform. Razorpay, 2 days back, Razorpay had their global event. They conduct a global event every year, and they have launched a new platform which is completely on AI. Razorpay is largely a merchant acquiring payment aggregator solution company. They onboard large set of merchants. If they have a website, if they have a POS machine, and if they need a sound box, they onboard lots of, and there is a lot of thorough due diligence which they need to do from a regulatory compliance perspective. This used to take anywhere between half a day to to 2 to 3 days, depending upon the geography. Digitally, if customer used to submit all the documents, it used to take at least 2 to 3 hours for onboarding a consumer. But they have brought down to 3 minutes using AI tool. I have a video for that. If it works, I can show you that. Paytm, like I mentioned some time back, is using lending intelligence tool. Paytm is a listed company. You can look at the stock prices. 2 to 3 years back, it was in losses of 6,000 crores. Now their losses have come down to 2,000 crores, and this maybe in another year or so, they will be profitable. And the way they have done is by leveraging the AI tools, by intelligently lending to the consumers who are doing good amount of collections. And for that, the tool which they have used is the smart soundbox which they have deployed in market. They have now not done anything. It's not a consumer who has given them a profitable business, because UPI is free. If you do any transactions on UPI, you don't get paid. Even Paytm does not get paid, or any bank also does not pay them. But using that data tool which is available with them, the large chunk of customer base, close to about 4 crore soundbox they have deployed in market. In that 4 crore soundbox, they lend to at least 50% of the merchants, and they leverage that very significantly. Bajaj Finance, which is based out of Pune itself, Girish is part of that group. They have leveraged AI and using 800 plus data points, Girish may be able to validate. They have done close to about 800 crores of disbursement last month only by using AI tool and AI bot. The AI bot used to call up customers, good paying customers, and this is all top-up loans. Existing customers who are good paymasters, just a call by AI bot to the customers and getting a feedback. If you need an additional loan, please click on one, and instantly the funds were credited to the consumer's account. Globally, a lot of work is happening. JP Morgan is doing contract intelligence. When I say contract intelligence, in global markets, there are close to about good amount of credit happens only on contracts. You need to sign a digital contract or a physical contract in order to get a credit. And there is a lot of legal support required. JP Morgan has saved close to about 360,000 hours of a lawyer's work using by AI tools. And they have been now planning to extend this to compliance, risk, and other business research related activities. Bank of America's Erica is a virtual banker, and they do about 1.5 billion client interactions. It's a virtual client, just like EVA, which is there in HDFC Bank. There is the tool which is deployed in that geography, and people don't know whom they are talking to. It's an AI bot they are talking to. Morgan Stanley has done a deployment of co-pilots. These are financial advisors. Close to about 60,000 financial advisors get an access to the data and what kind of information or products which can be sold using AI tools. And there is a recommendation which goes to the financial advisors as well, that you can sell this product to this customer, because a financial advisor has a set of list of customers whom they are already servicing. So what is the kind of information is required to be sold is being given to them. Lemonade is the world's fully AI insurance company, and they are only selling product using AI tool. They are not having a manual intervention in selling a product, or even the design of the product from regulatory compliance. They do it using regulatory norms, but the entire foundation, the ethos and philosophies which they follow is AI first approach, which is something what ECHO in India is trying to do, to remove the intermediaries or middlemen or insurance agents in between. But they are a long way to go, but Lemonade has already done in global markets. The business model impact, which is largely going to happen for people like you and me, is that there are a lot of embedded finance related products which are going to come in the market. This is looking at your transaction history, transaction data, transaction platforms, which are being, and they are sourcing these platforms. Of course, in India, there is again a DPDP Act, which has come into place, a Digital Privacy Act, which has been enacted. We need to figure out how that act will work in conjunction with AI as a tool. But every data of yours will be consented by you, and only then people will be able to use it. If that happens, BNPL, buy now, pay later options will further flourish in India. That has been tested for some time back, but it has not done pretty well in India because of regulatory concerns. But now with a lot of data backing it, maybe regulator will approve it. Subscription-based wealth management services is the next big thing which might come up in days to come. Data monetization is again a thing which is going to evolve over a period of time, and this will evolve also the banking services which is going to be there. One of my mentors from Harvard mentioned that the next valuable financial institution is not going to be a company which has the largest asset management in the company, but the company which is able to monetize the data, leverage the data, and build on that data scale which they have. The company which has insights of customer will be able to gain more business than a larger financial institution which is already sitting on piles of the data. Some of the risk, since we spoke of business, there are a lot of risk which is expected. There are a lot of biases which might come in, because whatever AI is thinking, whatever large language models are being built, there is a lot of information which is going from people like you and me. But if you go and see in rural Maharashtra or rural India, a cooperative credit manager would know the entire family of a person to whom he is lending. Even if he is financially weak, they tend to lend because they know the entire family history. Will we be able to build that kind of algorithms in our ecosystem that AI will allow such biases to be taken care of, or there will be some negative biases which will not support the financial inclusion activities? Because AI is built on certain inputs which comes from programmers, some data points which comes from programmers. But if there are large section of societies which are not part of the financial ecosystem and they are not able to get credit, that AI might create biases, which is a huge risk, which even regulator is worried on. Cyber warfare, we are under midst of a war between Iran and US, and US has been under attack from Iran. Dubai was attacked a couple of days back, and they attacked strategic locations like AWS server where AWS is hosted. For 3 days, AWS in Middle East was completely down when the servers were attacked. So the other warfare which you would see is the Swift technology stack, which was again built by US, and Swift was being offered for global market for global transactions. AI tools will be used for fighting such wars these days, because you would see Russia and Ukraine war when started, US immediately said Swift will not transact, and entire banking transactions of Russian ecosystem was brought to halt on the same day. Luckily, US had their own internal ecosystem, they survived, but for doing the transactions globally with global markets, they had to navigate and they had to move to other currencies of transaction. Data privacy, like I said, is going to be a big concern. DPDP Act, which has been enacted in November 2025, 13th of November 2025, we are seeing that it is still evolving. There are possibilities that because of AI, large chunk of compliance, regulatory and privacy issues might come up. How to navigate that, we are still trying to figure out. And too much of automation. Too much of automation is a huge concern from a regulator perspective. This is the feedback which I have got from a regulator, RBI, IRDA, and SEBI officials, that so much of automation is that if there is any mistake done by AI tool, who is going to take that ownership and responsibility? Institutions or a software company who has developed that application, who is the end owner of that mistake which has cost a bomb to an end consumer, is a concern which regulators have. And that's how they are trying to build a responsible AI framework which has to be fair, which is explainable. It has to have some sort of human oversight, and it has to be aligned with the regulatory expectations. Future banks, for you and me, because if you're looking at an employment perspective, it will be digital first, AI first approach. They will also have voice and embedded finance built in their technology stack. And you as a budding resource for that institution or an entrepreneur in a fintech ecosystem, you need to understand the entire end-to-end ecosystem if you want to get into that sort of a business environment. Autonomous financial planning is also a key requirement, which will also work out until unless you don't have a theoretical knowledge on what is, for instance, how a mutual fund works, or how a life insurance works, or how stock market works, using an AI tool just for the sake of AI tool, or for example, you can become a lawyer using a chat GPT these days. You just need to put in the information and you will get but lot of sections in that AI tool are incorrect because the information is not fed properly. If you think that you become a lawyer, you are understanding a Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, which is a new law, and you've put in that information, you will get a basic information. But if you use that and go and fight in court, you will be failed. So that is a concern which you need to, so theoretical knowledge which institutions like Indira or any other good institutions provide is much needed for you to make yourself ready for this AI world. And lastly, the large risk, the quantum risk and the kind of banking, because you will not visit any of the banks in future. All your transactions will happen either digitally or on mobile. Even KYCs are being done on mobile only. So you don't need to visit a physical branch. Your branch account can be in Jammu Kashmir. You can operate from Mumbai or Pune. Some of the takeaways for you as a student, which I think you should explore while you are doing your academics at Indira. Maybe you should also look at what is the ecosystem doing. And that can be done only by either visiting the institution, like a fintech institution or a banking institution, or getting the professional domain experts out here, engaging with them, understanding with them. Because every 15 days, the ecosystem is changing, at least thanks to AI perspective. AI product leadership is one thing which is again a question mark for a lot of entities. I say, I've learned this thing a couple of days back, that becomes a redundant. If somebody is expert in Java coding, after 15 days, that becomes redundant. So you have to evolve, you have to have that learning mode activated every time in order to lead this ecosystem or be part of this ecosystem. And most important is to be aware of compliance and risk. Normally, people are not taking compliance seriously. So I would recommend you all to think of a compliance, go and look at all the regulators' websites. Since you have such a good faculty out here, go to the RBI website, go to IRDA website, go to SEBI website, download the notifications, go through those notifications, see how those notifications have an impact on the business and the ecosystem, take inputs from your professors because if you start understanding compliance, you will see what is regulator thinking and how you can build your either a business or how you can contribute to any institution as an employee or officer team member in that ecosystem. Lastly, I will say, I don't think AI as going to kill jobs. AI is going to create much more jobs. The only thing which AI is going to bring is that you will not have large chunk of resources sitting on bench for IT companies. Facebook has just announced yesterday layoff of 20,000 odd engineers because they were not ready for the next wave. They were just sitting on bench, and so you need to evolve, you need to learn, and you need to take insights of what is coming up, and you need to be ready for the new ecosystem things. So this is my LinkedIn QR. If you want, I've shared the presentation. You can.
Onboarding is the first touch point merchants have with us, and we want it to be truly delightful. Let me show you what we did. The journey starts with the user entering the PAN details. So I went ahead and entered my PAN details. I'll go ahead and confirm my PAN. As you can see, it's able to fetch my PAN records from an SDL registry in real time. So far, we have clocked about 34 seconds. And the system has triggered an OTP verification, which I'll soon receive on my phone. I'll go ahead and key in the OTP that I got, submit the OTP. As soon as the OTP verification starts, a sequence of parallel things starts happening in parallel. We'll start fetching the KYC records for the user from the central registry. We start building a 360-degree risk profile for the merchant so that our underwriting is strong. And we do a complete compliance check as per the regulations. As you can see, with just a couple of seconds, it's able to build out my entire KYC profile as fetched from the CKYC registry. My Aadhaar is validated, so is my address, and there's a crisp summary of all the details available for the user to see. For the purpose of this demo, we created a small e-com site which sells apparels. Let me go ahead and key in the URL of that website. At this step, in the old journey, the user would be prompted to enter category and business category. That used to be a massive guessing game for the users because they had to scroll through 200 plus categories and choose the right one for them. Not anymore. Right now, the system automatically scans the product catalog and recommends the right business category, as you can see on the screen. For my apparel website, e-commerce and fashion and lifestyle seems like a perfect choice. I'll just go ahead and confirm that. And now to the final step, adding your bank account details into which we eventually want to settle the funds. As you can see, a UPI scanner pops up. I'll open my favorite UPI app and try to scan this. In the old world, we would expect the user to enter a long bank account number and an even longer IFSC code. It was like as though we were testing the user for their memory. Not anymore. Again, this goes back to the principle of shifting the burden onto the system and reducing the cognitive load for the user. As you can see, I made a token payment of 1 rupee on the scanner and it automatically fetched my account number and the IFSC code. And just like that, in just about 3 minutes, I'm ready to submit my application. The timer says 3 minutes and 9 seconds. That's how quickly you can onboard onto Razorpay. While all this magic was happening in the digital world, we did something cool for you in the physical world. We shipped a welcome hamper from Razorpay via Swiggy Instamart to your physical address that was verified, and that hamper should reach you in about 10 minutes time. This will also help us validate your physical address as per the regulatory norms. If our engineers are not writing actual code, is it fair to expect our customers to write code to integrate with us? And that question led us to build out this new integration journey. We have created this dummy website using Claude Code. It's a small e-com site. Let me go ahead and add this product to the cart. And you can see checkout is not yet integrated at the bottom right of the screen. Let me go ahead and see how we can integrate using the new agentic experience. I've chosen Claude because that's the environment I need the prompt for. And as you can see, it understood that it needs to first fetch the API keys for setting up the integration. I can see that it's already added a whole bunch of error handling. And there you go. It's almost done. It's already tested. It's integrated to the most part and the server is running cleanly is what it claims. It's about 51 seconds it has taken and it's also tested with a sample card. I'll just go ahead and refresh this, the sample website that we had, and see whether it's actually done what it's claiming to have done and not really hallucinating. There you go. I'll go ahead and click pay. The checkout loads as expected. Let's try a quick UPI payment. And because it used the test credentials, there's a badge here which says test. And just like that, with 51 seconds of Claude crunching through my code base and about 2000 odd tokens, your end-to-end integration on a native stack is done.
Do we even need a dashboard today? What if we rebuilt our dashboard with an AI first lens?
It's now able to build out a crisp summary of how the recon went. 9 out of 10 UTRs are matching. The reconciled amount is 8,886 and there is no mismatch at all. It also filtered out all the non-Razorpay related transactions and it'll also give a summary of that in very quick time. This is how the new experience looks like. No more spreadsheets, no more doing VLOOKUPs, and you can do your recons on large sets of data in just a few seconds. And this is for the recon scenario, and we are accelerated and building more and more scenarios so that a lot of operations that your team does gets automated in the agentic dashboard. If you ask any founder in the room, they would have received some message from one of their customers about a failed payment.
So this is the kind of innovation which is happening in payments. I mentioned about a product which is about feature phone based product. So I'll just try and see if that works. So I'm dialing a number, typically assume this is a feature phone, 08066740750 is the number, and I'm giving a missed call. the call automatically got disconnected. This is a QR code or a sticker which is available at, and then there is a call which comes.
मिस कॉल पे आपका स्वागत है। कृपया जयदीप पवार को भेजी जाने वाली राशि दर्ज करें।
Say I'm saying 10 rupees.
कृपया अपने XYZ बैंक का 4 अंकों का UPI पिन दर्ज करें।
So I'm putting my UPI pin.
शुक्रिया, आपके भुगतान की पूर्ति हुई।
That's it. You don't need an internet. You don't need a QR code. You don't need a smartphone. So this is the kind of innovation which is happening in the ecosystem. We are trying to build something which is there in the masses. So my submission, my request to all young entrepreneurs, young students, young prospective employees out there is to think different, be willing to experiment, don't be afraid of failures, take risks, but take calculated risk by knowing compliance, work under good mentors, talk to your professors, learn as much you can, invest your time in learning, not in just using chatbots and ChatGPT and Gemini for creating your reports, because that is not going to add value to you. Thank you so much, and looking forward to connecting with you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jaideep, for that wonderful session. We are a little ahead of time. If you can see your watches, we have moved on the stipulated time, so we need to wrap up on time also. So can I have Dr. Purvi Shah, the Area Chair Finance of the School of Business? Jaideep ji, momento. Dr. Shah, if you could present, thank you. All right, moving on to our next speaker. This is the third keynote for the day, Mr. Avinash Naik, President and CIO of the Bajaj General Insurance Limited. A very simple topic, 4 words, AI and I.
इसमें जाएगा क्या ठीक है ये नेक्स्ट है ना ऑल राइट गाइस प्लीज सेटल डाउन Thank you and good afternoon everyone. My name is Avinash Naik and I am responsible for technology and AI at Bajaj General Insurance. Okay, so I've heard the earlier speaker and I saw the agenda. I'm sure you've heard a lot of AI over the last 1.5 days, right? How many of you are still not bored listening to AI? No one. So you're all bored. So there's one person, okay. So the majority says that you have heard enough of AI. So what I've decided is I'll probably not run through all the slides that I spoke about because I'm sure you must have pretty much heard a lot of same things over and over again. So what I will do is, I will keep the session a little more interactive, and if I don't get any questions, I'll probably ask you questions, okay? So more like a quiz on what you've learned in the last 1.5 days. Is that okay? Very good, fantastic. So, okay, I just put something very provocative to start with, okay? And again, sorry if this is a repetition of what you've heard, but this is something that I heard over the last few days, primarily because, see, I started my career in 2000 when, when Y2K was about to end. And subsequently, changes, I saw the wave, all the way from internet era to mobility to cloud and now AI. And changes used to happen, in years earlier. Then the changes started happening in months very recently. But today, if you see, changes are happening almost every other day. So I think that's an important lesson for all of you guys. So a couple of years back, we were talking about, people who are joining the workforce, people who are joining my team. We were calling them born in the cloud. Okay. So you guys, when you pass out, you guys are going to be born in AI, hopefully. Unless there is something else that comes up after AI, I don't know, right? So I think the first big lesson, at least that I can tell you, you guys have to learn is, what used to take years is now taking months. What used to take months is taking quarters, and what is taking quarters is going to take a few weeks in the future. I think that's a big change that is going to happen. And that's where, AI is playing a big role. Okay, so to make it a little more interactive, breaking news. What happened on Feb 3rd? Why did Salesforce, how many of you have heard of the company Salesforce? Okay, that's one of the leading CRM companies in the world. Its stock went down by 7%, ServiceNow by 7%, Thomson Reuters by 15%. What happened on February 3rd? Any guesses? Nice. So Cloud Cowork plugins got launched, right? And the stock prices fell because people felt that Cloud Cowork could do what Salesforce, what ServiceNow could do, probably at a fraction of the cost and probably at a fraction of the time it took, right? I'm going to skip this one because it's a little more specific, but okay, let's go through this. Feb 9th, what happened? This is a little more specific to insurance. That's a lot of insurance aggregators and some insurance company stocks fell down. What happened here? Any idea? This is a little difficult one. So how many of you have heard of a company called Policy Bazaar in India? Yes? So Insurify is a Policy Bazaar equivalent in the USA. So Insurify, so what happened is Insurify worked with ChatGPT to start advising about insurance sale natively on ChatGPT. A simple idea. And what happens to existing companies with a significant legacy? Stock prices go down by more than 10%. Okay, this is a bigger one. Feb 20th. So how many students from cybersecurity here? Anybody with, oh, fantastic. You guys should know this. This is going to be very important for you. Feb 20th, what happened? Okay, you can Google it if you want. So our friend Claude again, Anthropic's Claude Code secure. So they launched something for security. What they claimed was, so while they launched Claude Code on one side, which could write code, they launched Claude Code Security, which could identify vulnerabilities in the code, and it could also tell you what you need to do to fix it. Which means a lot of security companies were under threat. Unfortunately, none of these security companies were doing what Claude Code Security did, but just because they were security companies, their stock price fell down. Okay, last one. Feb 23rd, and all this is happening in the matter of a few days, like I said, right? It's not in a matter of few weeks, months, or years. What happened on Feb 23rd? Look at the companies. That's the hint is in the companies that whose stock price fell down. IT services companies, Claude Code's COBOL modernization program. How many of you have heard of COBOL as a programming language. Okay, there are some who have heard of it. So a lot of financial institutions, especially in the US, a lot of other companies still use this language because earlier machines called mainframes, AS400, they still run on this legacy platform. And I've worked on COBOL, so I can tell you that, over the years, people have tried to move out of it, but haven't been able to, but AI claims to do that. So I think a simple lesson, again, reinforcing what I said, what is happening, what we haven't seen happen in years is happening in a matter of days. So all these 4 examples that I gave you happened between Feb 3rd and Feb 23rd in a matter of 20 days. One company disrupting all the behemoths that have been out there for the last 30 years, right? That's the power of AI that we're talking about. So having heard the earlier speakers, I'm going to skip all the other things that I've heard of, okay, that I've heard of in the previous sessions. What we will do is, I'll just take up a couple of slides here, okay? And please feel free to ask questions in case you have any. Please feel free to interrupt me. So while we talk about AI and its implementation, right? I mean, there are certain basics that do not change, okay? So when you implement a technology, while everybody says that AI is so easy, you just write a prompt and just develop things, there are certain things that need a lot of governance. There are certain things that need strategy around technology. So I think that is the first pillar that everybody needs to understand about. The second one, I would say, is the most important element when you embark on any initiative like AI, right? So historically, there are certain things that have been done in a very certain way, right? So if you're going to continue doing things the same way and embed AI in between, it is not going to give results. So I'll just go back to the previous video that you saw about Razorpay, where the way of doing things itself has changed. Can you reimagine how things are changing? Again, I will take an example of sales. How many people from sales, who is measuring in sales and marketing here? Nobody. Okay, fantastic. So sales is a bad example. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So as an insurance company, we sell different kinds of products. A simple example is health insurance, right? So today, when we get claims, right, we get paper or digital documents in the back office. There is a technical assessor who looks at the bills and says, "Ki ye line item hai. Was this part of your policy? Ye line item hai. Was this part of your policy? Ye medicines hai. Is the MRP correct?" They'll go and check in the website. Then it goes to a medical assessor. Medical wala bolega, ye line of treatment tha, whether this is correct. So you need a doctor to understand that, right? Whether an X-ray was needed for 3 times, right? Whether a pathology report was required 5 times in 5 days. So now all of this is something that we have automated, and I'll show you a slide around it on how we have done that. So all the way from understanding whether any ailment is captured as part of your policy, is covered as part of your policy, to be able to say whether the doctor who treated you is followed the right line of protocol, to be able to say whether the billing that has happened is accurate, to be able to say whether the pharmacy charges that were charged for example, a cancer treatment, one drug costs 5,000 rupees. What if they have charged you 7,500 rupees? How are you going to know that? So we have built solutions to be able to do all of this using AI. This could only be possible, while the technology is one part of it, we could only do this because we did something known as business process re-engineering. We did not think we will have doctors and we will have technical assessors who will be using AI. We thought, why do we need doctors, right? Why do you need doctors? For example, people who are majoring in cybersecurity, why do you need MBAs in cybersecurity? Sorry. But those are the kind of questions you have to ask to be able to effectively leverage the power of AI. Execution methodology, governance, people and culture. I think people and culture is something that you guys don't need to really worry about, because I believe that you guys are born with AI, or born in AI. So you will start in an era, you'll start your career in an era where AI is default. So it's not going to be much of a challenge for you guys. But for people like us who are seeing AI, you know, towards the middle or fag end of our careers, for us to be able to adapt is going to be a big challenge. So people who are used to work in a certain way, right? They have to really change. So somebody was telling me, okay, so this is a good anecdote, okay? And I have to ensure that you guys don't get bored because I saw that you guys were getting bored after 1.5 days. So somebody was telling me that the whole advent of AI is like the advent of computers. I don't know if some of your parents may have told you, right? When we were there in our banks, one fine day computerization happened and then we were asked to, you know, adapt to computers. So a lot of people are comparing the advent of AI to the computerization era, where people who could adapt to computers actually thrived, right? Who did well in their careers, but people who did not actually were left behind or had to even take, you know, voluntary retirement. But in reality, I actually looked at some other article which actually compares the era of AI to the era when electricity was first created. Now that is huge, right? I mean, that comparison is huge. So when electricity was first created, the traditional ways of using light just completely vanished. You know what that means? A lot of companies that were thriving, a simple example is candles, right? Way back in that era, companies that were manufacturing candles or lamps, they just had to disappear because now light had a new way of, you know, reinventing itself. So that's what, you know, AI era, at least that's what it promises. Like I said, the good part for you guys is you are born in this era. So for you guys to adapt, it should not be a challenge, is what my belief is. Okay, again, this is, I don't know if somebody has covered all of this, but just the different kinds of AI that we are looking at in our organization, you know, starting from one, conversational, right, what Jaideep spoke about. How can you get conversational AI in your ecosystem? A simple thing is servicing. In our case, for an insurance company, today 62% of our servicing happens through conversational bots. So no humans involved. Renewals. So for insurance, every year you have to renew your policy. So customers tend to not renew it. So earlier humans used to call them. So today there are large language models which actually can mimic human voice. So we have bots, voice bots that actually call customers and is able to renew the policy on the customer's behalf. So that's about conversational AI. Vision AI is something that's about, you know, extracting details from documents, images. I spoke about the health claims piece on how we are extracting data from bills and stuff like that. I'll give you another example on Vision AI. So we also do motor insurance. Motor insurance is big time in India, right? So motor claims kya hota hai? When a motor gets into an accident, a surveyor goes, looks at the damage, takes photographs, takes videos, and then somebody analyzes it humanly to be able to say what is the extent of damage, whether the parts need to be replaced, repaired, and then the payout happens. What we have done using Vision AI is, and this is a Gemini model that we have used, is using the model, it is able to analyze images, be able to say what is the extent of damage, being able to say what is the make, model, subtype of the vehicle, Maruti, Wagon-R, XYZ, LXI, right? Which panel of the car is damaged, whether the panel needs to be replaced or repaired, whether if the part has to be replaced, what is the cost? If the part has to be repaired, what is the cost? And it is able to add all of that and be able to spit out a cost of repair or cost of replace, which means you understand the entire process, how that has changed. 2001, when private insurers got into insurance, the way this was done is a surveyor used to go to the site of accident, used to take a camera, click pictures, come back. Next day, the pictures used to get uploaded. Then somebody used to analyze it. 2001 said 2026, we have reached, you know, if we hadn't had this technology, imagine, you know, what would have happened. In between, again, so one thing you also have to remember, while AI is what we are talking today, in between there were a set of technologies that also helped. Mobile apps. The moment mobile apps came in 2014, every insurance company launched an app where the surveyor just went there, took photographs on his this thing, and was able to send the photographs directly. So that saved a lot of time, right? Just shows that how technology evolves, and unless we adapt to technology, we'll be left behind. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip a lot of other dabbas here. In some Gyan slides. Again, I don't know how much of this will be relevant for you guys at this point in time, but what I will do is, I will probably take the second one, pilotatis. This is a good word that I heard somewhere, and then I thought I should use it in some presentation. So basically, companies like ours, we are very excited when we get toys and tools like AI, right? So we keep experimenting. We keep experimenting with different ideas. We keep experimenting with different models. But things never go into production, never go live. So it's very easy to kind of keep experimenting, be happy saying, "Arey, maine ye kar diya, wo kar diya," but it has to actually, show some value, get into production and be of value. So it's important to have that rigor around saying, "Okay, I have the tool, I have to move forward and implement it and get the best value out of it." Otherwise, you'll just get stuck into doing experiments, right? So that's an important point here. Number 3 is also very important, denial. And this is what happens sometimes, and again, may not be applicable to you. It's very easy for us to say, "Arey, kya AI kya hai? Matlab, theek hai, it's okay," right? A lot of people always stay in denial. Again, may not apply to you guys, but it's important to accept the fact that this is here to stay. It will change the way things happen. So the more urgently you kind of accept and adapt to it, I think the better you will be, the ahead of the curve you will be. Value realizations, again, so every company is investing in it, It's also important now to ensure that returns are coming. Otherwise, what will happen is, AI is not cheap, right? At the end of the day, for every token, for every LLM call that you make, you have to pay money. So it's important that you have sight on what is the expected business value realization that you're getting. That's a terminology, industry terminology, right? Business value realization, BVR. So it's important to have sight on BVR while you are trying to implement something. And that's what we use to prioritize our projects. So when we started our long range planning, we had about more than 150 projects. But the moment we start talking about value realization, the number of projects actually dwindle down and come to less than 1/3 of what we have. So this is, again, health claims adjudication, the one that I had spoken about. This is how it actually looks like, a very high level architecture. The different agents that I had talked about, a policy rules agent, a tariff and bill abuse agent, a medical abuse agent, a document fraud agent. You'll be surprised to see what are the kind of frauds that we get in India, right? Multiple names, people just change the bill, the diseases and so on. So those are the things that we have done. This is the medical and technical assessment that I was talking about. Today, this is running in a co-pilot mode. Hopefully in the future, we'll be able to do this in a much more autonomous mode. Same thing on the advisor front. Today, we sell about 500 products. Unfortunately, our advisors, most advisors would not know about, more than 10 products. So how do you kind of empower them with the knowledge of all the products that we have? So the first thing, and this was created way back 18 months back, we created a product knowledge agent using AI, where more than 500 product brochures were actually fed into this. And today, a customer through voice, through text, through any channel, through mobile app, through a desktop or a bot, will be able to get this information at their fingertips. Not only that, so once we gave this to our business teams, what they asked was for, ठीक है 500 प्रोडक्ट है अभी इसमें से बेचना कौन सा है भाई? So then we said, why don't we build a product recommendation agent? So now the recommendation agent, depending on the customer profile, depending on the customer needs, is able to recommend a product. Now our sales team said, ये तो और भी अच्छा हो गया. But now we have another problem. Now the customer says, ये तो ठीक है, but how does this stack up against a competitor का product? Then we created a real-time comparison agent. So what it does is, it takes our product, it goes to the internet, finds an equivalent product of a competitor, does a comparison, and gives a list of features on why our product is better. It will always say that our product is better. It better be, right? That is where the guardrails come into picture. You can never say that the competitor's product is better, right? And finally, this culminates into a sale. That's the final agent. And this has been built, so you'll be surprised to know that each of these have been built using different large language models. So this was done way back. So this is using an old version of Anthropic Opus. This one is using an OpenAI model, and this one is using Gemini 2.5 Flash model. So that's the power of AI. I mean, if you really think of how do you reinvent the wheel, how do you reimagine how things can be done, I think a lot of it is possible. Last but not the least, just wanted to give us this thing, how do you kind of empower, how do you kind of educate people in the organization? So we've created something known as a BGen workbench, which is a playground for all our employees to kind of learn about large language models, run their own use cases. We started off with very simple use cases. Now this has become, extremely detailed. I'll give you a very simple example. So our head of corporate communications used to send out a podcast internally almost every week. And this podcast was done manually. Somebody was actually recording it. That entire thing has been automated. So the text is fed into this, and it actually spits out the podcast. Very simple use case, but probably saves a few hours, for a team. This is just what's in pipeline for us. And this is a little bit about our organization, but I think that's all I had today. And if you have any question, I'll be happy to take that, or I'm sure you had enough of AI, so I'll wrap this up. You have any question? Yes, please. Yes. When you say sustainability, you're talking about sustainability in terms of cost. What do you mean by resources? Right. So very difficult question. Sorry, that's मेरी expertise है नहीं है, लेकिन I can tell you that while rare earth metals and its rarity is being talked about, I also have heard about research that is happening on creating GPUs using alternative materials. So whenever there is a problem, I've always seen that there is a solution that comes in. So I don't think that's going to be a limitation ever, if you really ask me. And at least in the last 25 years of my career, I've never seen that hardware or software has ever become more expensive because of non-availability of components. There could be a, what I would say, temporary spike in terms of availability because of certain reasons like war, etc., or COVID, etc. But otherwise, at least in my career, I haven't seen that there has been a dearth of hardware availability. The prices, if you see, the prices of hardware have always gone down. The cost of tokens has gone down over the last 2 years, right? So I honestly don't think that's thing, but it's a good question. You found out the most difficult question that you could ask. Thank you. Sorry.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Kshitija. So my question for you is, can AI-based decisions expose financial services firms to legal penalties, like errors seen in Deloitte's AI reports?
Of course. I mean, we have seen a lot of errors these days, right? I mean, Lily, that's another bot that kind of gave some false information. So that is definitely bound to happen. So I spoke very briefly about guardrails, right? So the one thing that I keep questioning myself while, despite the guardrails that we are putting in, there is no formal method. So if you were to write a piece of software today, there is a clear roadmap on how you're going to test it, how you're going to, security test it, and to ensure that the functional testing happens correctly, the regression happens correctly, performance happens correctly, security is taken care of. But from a guardrails that is needed for AI, I don't think, at least I am not aware of a defined method on how you're going to ensure that the AI is always going to be very accurate. While there are going to be checks in place, there is governance that we are all putting in place, there is a risk that is out there, which is why if you go back to my picture about the health claims adjudication, I said we are still running in co-pilot mode, because there is a human in the loop today, especially for sensitive kind of transactions and use cases. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys were very patient. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Avinash. You need to be on stage. Can I once again have Dr. Shah present A thank you memento to Avinash. Backstage, can we have the memento, please?
Thank you. Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
All right, can we have the chairs brought up for the panel discussion? We need 4 chairs. Okay, this is the panel before lunch. The role of AI in financial services. Let me invite the panelists. Ayan De, Director of Anira AI. Joining Ayan is Ranjan Dutt, Marketing Operations Director of Russell Investments. We have Manisha Khadge, CMO of Mind Bowser. And anchoring this is Jaideep Pawar, founder and CEO of Gram EP. I believe 40 minutes is a good enough time for you for the panel. Yeah? All right. I'll get the mic.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This panel is standing between you and your lunch, so bear with us for next 40 minutes. So I have an eminent panel out here. So rather than me introducing them, I would try and set the context and would want them to briefly introduce themselves in maybe 90 to 120 seconds. And then I have listed a series of questions which I, as a fintech professional or a BFSI professional, have in the mind. So I would also want to understand their views, and maybe if time permits, we'll take a couple of questions. So starting with you, Ayan, if you can introduce yourself and your opening comments.
Thank you, Jaideep. Thank you, my co-panelists. And thank you, everyone here for having us address this session. I am Ayan. I sit at the cross-section of insurance, data, and AI. I build products which take care of, as the speaker before me was talking about, all areas of insurance operation, actually. Which means, in practice, we use AI at scale. And we have to ensure that the products that we build for the industry is not only using AI as a technology, but because insurance is one of the critical pillars of the financial world, and I think everyone will understand here, there is a lot of impact on scale. And since the industry itself is built on trust, how do we use AI to use trust-based acceptance of a new technology as we build forward? Yeah.
Thank you, Ayan. Manisha, I would request you to introduce yourself and an opening remark for the panel.
Sure. So I am Manisha Khadge. I am currently working as a Chief Marketing Officer at Mind Bowser, and also have a couple of side gigs where, I make sure that I'm constantly in touch with the industry to cover their insights, etc. Prior to that, I kind of come with more than 2 decades of experience working in B2B IT field. I am more of a practitioner, so when it comes to AI, I wouldn't say that I'm an expert. I'm still a student and probably will always, because the way AI is evolving, you really have to keep yourself, updated with the latest thing which is coming up, and I try my best to do that. I personally try to use each and everything which probably my team or organization does that, so that I understand its importance, at the same time its impact on anything and everything we do. Uh, Currently, I'm working in a health tech space, but more than decade of experience I've spent with financial services side of it. So health tech is equally regulated. So I understand, the criticality of use of AI, at the same time, the cautiousness of it.
Great. Thank you, Manisha. Ranjan, request your introduction. And
Yeah,
opening
thanks. And I think it's a great panel. So thank you for having me here. My name is Ranjan Dutt. Close to about 3 decades of experience across multiple sectors. The last 2 decades have primarily been in financial services. I presently head marketing operations as a global marketing operations director for Russell Investments. Most of my last 2 decades have been in the insurance sector. So post close to about 18 years in insurance, now the past few years have been in asset management. So as you can well understand, it's a highly regulated space, both insurance and asset management. AI, Manisha summed it up beautifully, saying that she is a student, as am I. I love to read about AI and also practice AI along with my team. I think across the industry as well as in our own organization, one would probably think that AI in financial services kitna use hota hoga, but practically speaking, we are using AI almost in every single function across the organization. And what we are seeing is the rapid increase of AI in almost every single sphere of our day-to-day usage of AI. Thanks.
Thanks, Ranjan. Just to set the context, we'll be driving this panel from a couple of perspectives. One is from a governance perspective, accountability structure perspective, and on what are the ethical guardrails which are there in the ecosystem. And I would want each of the panelists to give their views on that. Starting with you, Ayan, and maybe the same question to all the panelists. Are the existing regulatory frameworks equipped to govern the AI-driven financial systems, maybe in insurance or financial services or in SEBI-related aspects? Are we adopting legacy rules for the new age risks which are coming, or is there any innovative approach we need to adopt? Your views on that?
So Jaideep, I think this is one of the critical questions which is being faced by industry at large, if you ask me. And I would say that we are moving in the right direction. I mean, I was just scanning through the newspaper while waiting for this session, and 3 quick pieces of news items actually caught my eye. And that was covering 3 different pillars of the financial world. So the Competition Commission of India, CCI, has just now come up with a broad set of guidelines to check the use of AI, which might actually be prompting things like, algorithmic collusioning, or for example, price exclusion, or self-promotion even, which means now CCI is looking at not only the financial industry, but all across. This was one. The second piece of news that came into my notice was RBI has just sent out a set of pointers to the banks, both PSU and private, of introducing facial recognition technologies backed by AI in their ATMs. Now this is important because not only this is some kind of a behavioral piece that will now start, coming in picture real time, but also it will start nudging the banks to look at AI at the front line of, for example, ATMs you will see, everywhere. The third piece, which is rather closer to my industry, is from the insurance industry. that cyber insurers have now started asking for very in-depth questions to the customers, corporate customers I'm talking about, to the use of AI in their internal operations. Which means they are not only asking those old, Basel and SR11 questions, which used to only look at market risks or maybe look at the credit risks. They are actually using questions or questionnaires like, where is your data residing? How it is being used by the AI models? What different type of models are being used at scale? Is the board aware of the algorithmic risks? What kind of self-audit mechanisms you are already having? Now, these things are available in today's newspaper, and I was quite surprised that it is representing 3 different critical parts of the finance industry. I don't have to say anything more than this, because this basically gives an indication where actually our governance and regulations are moving towards.
Your views specifically from a healthcare perspective, and also your insights from a financial services perspective.
Sure. So I think, already covered the regulatory aspect of it, how fast they're moving and the kind of things they're implementing. To answer your question, is the framework catching up with the AI evolution? Probably answer is still no, because AI is evolving much faster than, way regulatory authorities is catching up with it. But they're going to get there eventually. Maybe a certain gap in terms of the latest technology and the frameworks will always be there. But he already covered what regulatory authorities are doing, right? I would cover the other aspect is, since I've worked within financial services with companies like Synchron, who work with, Standard Charters of the world and New York Exchange and whatnot. From the time when there was no AI to AI becoming a trend, and then to my, latest experience with a fintech organization called SignZ, which is actually entirely built on no-code, low-code platform, right? So I always say that people are just running behind and trying to position whatever technology they build or they outsource, call it AI first platform, AI first app. I always say that foundationally, the focus should remain on compliance first intelligence. Because, rather than waiting regulatory frameworks to catch up and the rules to implement, if you really want to stay in the game for longer run, specifically in financial services where, money is at stake. I work in health tech where life is at stake, right? So compliance becomes foundation of anything and everything you build.
Ranjan, your views, specifically from being an investment banker and running such a huge investment portfolio.
So actually, it is surprising, but globally, I think regulatory bodies still have to catch up. So if you look at some of the regulatory bodies that are currently governing what is out there, some of the regulations were made back in 2011, some back in 2014, and AI is still very, very recent. So if I were to put an analogy, just imagine if, let's say, a horse-driven chariot were to certify a Tesla in terms of its safety. So would that happen? What do you think? Would a horse-driven carriage be able to certify a Tesla? Does that work in today's day and time? No, right? So it is still to catch up, not to say that there are no guardrails. Yes, there are, but it is still quite, let's put it this way, it's still archaic. It still has to catch up. There is a lot that can be done. And as we still, as we're all students of AI, I think we're all seeming to understand where this is going. Almost every single day you will read that X amount of frauds have happened, X amount of things have happened because of AI. So yes, there's a lot that can still be done in this space. Thanks.
Ranjan, coming to you again, is there a accountability a concern at scale, specifically in AI, and how do we need to address that? Who is going to be responsible for such kind of issues in accountability? Is it board, vendors, software companies, What is your view on that?
The board, for sure, because let's say we engage with a vendor to implement a particular tool, but the vendor is not responsible for how you're implementing it. It is you and your board who actually is implementing AI, and you're actually dealing with customers' money, right? So it has to be the organization and the board at risk, which should take on the onus on behalf of the customer.
Manisha, what are your views?
I have a slightly different opinion. I feel that it starts with institution. Ultimately, the entire value chain is responsible, but it is anyone and everyone who deploys AI and implements AI, the foundational accountability lies with them. Of course, as I said, the vendor is supposed to build something which is compliant first. The board, probably focused more on, financial oversight and cybersecurity oversight, but it's high time that they start having AI oversight, where they make sure that ethical and responsible AI practices are followed by whatever system they're used. But I guess somebody who's dealing direct with consumer, the first accountability lies with them.
Okay. Ayan, talking about insurance in the domain, which is highly regulated, not only in India, but also globally. Who is accountable for the losses because of AI-driven decisions? What do you think should be the approach from a governance perspective?
So Jaideep, I have now spent more than 3 decades in this industry. And I've actually seen this industry scale up since the last 30 years. I can be honest in one thing, that whatever technology you introduce, that technology is specifically meant for doing something. Either it is for scaling business, or it is for customer service, or better products. In any case, artificial intelligence is also a technology, which means that you have, as an institution, you have to take the ownership of the use of technology. You cannot outsource the accountability of the use of technology to the vendor. Similarly, I think both of my panelists, co-panelists were indicating about that. The board has to play a very, very vital role here. The basic sense of algorithmic risk that has to be understood by the board. Today, many of the boards possibly don't really realize that AI, in the way it is expanding in different parts of business, and I'm talking specifically about the insurance business, it is becoming one of a major baseline challenges which the board has to understand, accept, and create the risk framework around it. Otherwise, this is not going to work. And as I was mentioning, as we have read today's newspaper, now even the regulator is asking the boards to actually furnish these kind of detailed information, how AI as a tool, as a technology, is now being used in the insurance practice.
Great. Ranjan, coming to you, primarily, do you see the kind of frauds and risks which are evolving in the ecosystem, specifically in the domain where you are? How are institutions planning to protect themselves, and what are some of the risk mitigation tools which are available for institutions to deploy or be aware of in this entire ecosystem?
I think this is a great question because as technology is evolving, I think the villains, let's put it the villains are getting more creative. AI is getting more creative. They're using AI for frauds of different kinds. We've been reading since the last 2.5 years, and I think a study very recently mentioned that there is a deepfake attack or an AI-related attack happening every 5 minutes. This study was done last year, so it's very recent. There was another study done by Deloitte, which talks about something very similar on these lines. So what's happening is today there is an arms race. There's an arms race from, let's say, the villains, and there is an arms race by the institutions in terms of how could, let's say, institutions put up guardrails to ensure that this does not happen? And similarly, on the other side, our villains are also getting very, very creative with what they are doing. So on both sides, what does happen is, like for instance, with terrorist attacks, you only know of those that are successful. You don't know those that probably were tried and failed. So what gets reported, you hear about that, but you don't obviously know how much institutions are going and stretching themselves every single day to prevent such attacks as well. So yeah, it is an interesting space to be in, and with financial institutions, what you will continue to hear is X happened and Y happened and Z happened and so many people got impacted, but you are not probably getting to see that insight in terms of how much money was probably saved due to several guardrails that institutions have put up.
And coming to the healthcare and the domain where you are operating, how are these issues with regards to risks which are there in the ecosystem? For instance, if an AI tool gives a wrong prescription to a patient, how are these going to be planned to be mitigated if AI is planned to be deployed in the ecosystem?
Absolutely. So as you rightly said that, most of the creative people go, the other side of this story, but I would say it's probably they're not willing because they go there because there's more money over there. So it's time for institutions and from the industry perspective to invest more to, kind of counter those frauds. I always believe that, AI can only protect AI, right? Since the fraud is more around using the latest tech, using the latest, gig, anything which comes around AI, they're the most updated, they're most creative. And they go over there, as I said, is because it's all money game. So it's high time that institutions, industry come together, invest more on countering these particular frauds. And I think if the well-trained AI is rather more efficient in detecting these frauds and protecting, because efficiency is what AI brings. So there is a need to invest more on the other side to kind of counter these frauds in particular.
Interesting. Ayan, coming to you, what do you think is security far more important, compliance far more important, or a customer experience far more important when we deploy such kind of tools in the ecosystem?
This is a very difficult question, actually. And in fact, if you ask me, Jaideep, this is the most delicate balancing that has to be done. And I'm not talking only about the insurance industry, but about any industry where a lot of customer interaction has to happen. Now, you ask anyone in this room that whenever they have to get sort of, a new bank account opened, for example, or a demat account opened, the kind of forms and the rigor that everyone has to go through, no one in this room really likes to go through that entire rigor. And that is the challenge, is because we have the mindset of a one size fits all. We try to actually get information, we try to check information, and we try to deal with the similar set of information for all customers alike. Now, the only way that I see with the advent of AI is you have, smart risk categorization of your market, which means that anyone who has a low risk profile goes through the entire set of transactions smoothly, and wherever the AI actually flags, a higher risk, you immediately then trigger a higher set of checks and balances on that. That is the only way that you will not make every honest customer feel like as if he is a suspect.
Understood. Understood. So, are there any selection biases expected in this entire AI-led economy? I will tell you the context why I'm coming from. We work in a financial inclusion space, largely working in rural markets, and we have seen both in healthcare as well as in wealth management and in insurance domain, large section of customers are not being onboarded or they don't have availability of the product. With AI tools being built for certain section of societies, are we going to financially exclude those set of consumers which are there in India? I'm talking about people not from India, from Bharat. What is your view on that? Is a product building from a wealth management or a SEBI perspective, how do we build a product which is there for Bharat?
See, if I was to talk of, let's say, the lower segment of society, I think, which is what you're alluding to, products today, both in insurance are available, as well as in wealth are also available. So today you've got micro SIPs starting at 10 rupees and 100 rupees. So I think products are definitely available. I think Bharat is booming. Products today for every single segment of society is available, and have been available since I think the last so many years. So for instance, let's say 30 years back, you would have the lower segment of society investing in what was called a BC. So something very similar today is available online as well, wherein someone can make an SIP for something as simple as 10 rupees a day, or 50 rupees a day, or 100 rupees a day. So that is all available. I think with AI, what's going to happen is documentation is getting easier. I think technology as well as telecom, the boom in India has made that possible. It is extremely exciting to see what I think we've managed to do in India over the past 12 to 15 years. And this is continuing to grow at a very rapid pace. So, and just given the strength that we as Bharat have, which is our population, and the fact that this is a very young population that understands money, wants to continue to save money, and wants to, and is very aspiring. So that aspiring Bharat that we have is a huge market for all companies who are looking at creating such products. And yeah, I think it's very exciting.
Great. Manisha, from a healthcare perspective, will AI bring down healthcare cost specifically for Bharat?
Right, yeah. So I'll first probably address the foundational question you asked around the, are you able to hear? Sorry, okay. Yeah, the inclusion or exclusion part of it, right? So when it comes to AI, I think it needs to be engineered intentionally, whether it's exclusion or inclusion. And exclusion bias, especially country like India, exists. You know, I wouldn't say that it's completely gone. And I know there are a lot of initiatives happening, but just to give you an example, whether you take financial services or healthcare, there are women entrepreneurs, and you know that there's a lack of data. If you talk about rural India or underserved communities, there is a missing data, right? So there are, data issues, and AI fully works on data. Without data, AI doesn't kind of give you that unbiased result. So bias does exist, but as he rightly covered, that there are a lot of initiatives where things are catching up, and we're the documentation piece in terms of automating so that we have more data. So there are initiatives, but does the bias exist? I would say we still have a lot to catch up on that.
Yeah, thanks. And Ayan, how about insurance penetration? Will it increase because of use of AI, especially in Bharat? Because we still see large section of Indian rural consumers are not insured. Of course, there is government schemes, government subsidies, government programs running in. But will AI help insurance companies to customize and design products to meet needs of the rural consumer?
So I am very, very hopeful about this, because insurance is not the only space where AI is actually becoming pervasive. Now, if you see, if you traverse across the length and the breadth of the country, you will quickly see that how fast the current population is actually taking to utilization of AI in their day-to-day life, which means when it comes to something as complex as insurance, millions of customers across Bharat will never come across, a personal human agent who will explain the complexity of the insurance product to him. For him, possibly that algorithm will be the only advisor ever that he has met. And because it is available on his 5,000 rupees smartphone, which is already there at the tap of his requirement. What needs to be done in this case is companies, institutions have to have a very clear set of guidelines. One that comes to my mind is there has to be an absolute clear disclosure that this advice is being made by an artificial agent. That is one. Second, we were just now talking about suitability part of it. Now, insurance is a complex financial product. There has to be the suitability matrices baked in the products before it is even sold out through the artificial agent. And finally, the complex routes have to be then sent to the human chain. This has to be done to ensure that AI actually becomes the democratic agent for selling insurance and financial products across the length and the breadth of the country.
Great, great. Now, since we have large section of young possible entrepreneurs, finance and marketing and MBA graduates, budding graduates who are wanting to enter this ecosystem, I would want each of the panelists to share their views. What should they be ready to do in this AI economy and the kind of disruptions which is expected to happen? How they need to prepare themselves for this industry, the change which is coming in the industry, and what is your one advice or maybe piece of advice for them from your personal experience for them to evolve and become a better leader for Bharat or global markets? Ayan, we can start with you.
So I'll be quick about it. I have sat in a similar room many years back, listening to people on the stage. Two quick things. One is, as my previous presentation I was watching said at the end, AI is no more the future. AI is very much here. So please accept, don't be in the denial mode. Everything around you is now being sort of driven by AI. So accept AI as is and just be with the flow. That is number one. Number two, whatever technology, today it is AI, tomorrow it can be something else. And you in your careers will continue to see evolution of technology more and more. Whatever technology comes your way, accountability, human accountability and human trust cannot be outsourced to any technology. That is where you as the technology leader, you as the business leader will have to own it up and you will have to show the road. I think these are the two most critical pieces that come to my mind.
Thanks, Ayan. Manisha, your advice for young guys?
Sure. I'm sure the audience has maybe two set of different people. Some of you may be in the journey of entrepreneurship where you want to start your own startup. So I'll probably reiterate what I said in the beginning is that focus on compliance first intelligence and not just AI first. That's my always a suggestion to anyone and everyone who's building it. And others who plan to, maybe get more experience working with organization, what is available to you is available to everyone. What you bring to the table is going to set you apart and set you aside. So stay updated for sure, but bring your human element, which probably AI can't replace. Everyone talks about AI replacing the job. There is always going to be a time where things will, technology will push you to upskill. Jobs are not going anywhere. Jobs are just upskilling and probably relocating, and the standard definition of jobs are changing. As long as you evolve, it's like having a sharp sword in your hand, which is AI, but you need to know how to use it and where to use it. And that's what you, personally bring to the table.
Thanks. Ranjan, your advice for the young guys?
Sure. So I think as students, I think when you started your journey as children, you started with ABC, right? I'm going to say you continue with ABC throughout your life. What is ABC? I would say always be curious. okay? Always be curious, keep asking questions. And what is AI all about? Writing prompts, right? So you have to be curious to be able to write the right prompt. That's when you'll get your answers. What are you looking for? The other ABC I would love for all of you to do is always be closing, okay? Because whatever you do in life, you have to sell, okay? You have to market. You have to market yourself, you have to sell yourself. So always be closing, always be curious. Thanks.
Thanks. I guess we are right on time, and if there is a time, we can open up for questions. Any questions from the audience? I would request you to direct the question to any of the panelists to whom you want to respond.
Hello. Am I audible, sir? Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Snehal Purankar. Sir, my question was, since we all discussed about AI in these 2 days, and you all have brought up very nice points regarding fintech, healthcare, and insurance sectors too. My question was, if AI is dealing with guardrails and compliance and risk issues, and we still have a human intervention in that, saying that human in the loop for everything, will it be continued, or after some few years or a decade later, will it be replaceable completely 100% AI? What are your views on that?
So what you have actually asked is for us to crystal gaze, look into the future. I only wish that we had the powers within the four of us to do. But yes, looking at the trend, there would be certain areas where decisions will become autonomous. The low risk areas will possibly see the benefit of decision making becoming fully autonomous. You are already seeing cars being driven without a driver, right? So that is an example how things would actually move. And I think as the panelists were also talking about, the whole ecosystem is going to evolve and emerge and actually accept AI as the autonomous decision maker. But, and I would again say but, there are certain areas which would be critical where a human being will take a 1 second or a 2 second pause. The machine will not, right? That is where, just because the human mind is structured and designed in a way that it will take a pause, that is where the human will still be in the loop, and the human will still continue to be very, very critical in the entire ecosystem. Yeah?
I kind of agree. I would just say that machine can tell you how to deal, but it can't tell how you feel. So I think that emotion and feeling aspect will still remain. In healthcare, you can't replace a doctor even if you create a robot for surgery, because doctor is emotionally connected with you. You trust the person and not so much the machine. So it will always be there.
Any other question? Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. My name is Sakshi Todkari. I am a MBA finance student. I just want to ask that right now we know that AI is making banking so faster, but but does it also makes the risk harder to spot? I just also want to know that how do we ensure that aren't just automating our mistakes?
So when you say about banking, and what was that part you said about frauds, right?
Yes, sir. The risk which are harder to spot.
So I'll give an example. Today, let's say in the US, one of the most common frauds that's happening is children who are below, let's say, 5 years of age or 6 years of age. Their social security numbers are being skimmed. Okay, that social security number is being attached to a new profile that is nurtured for about 2 years. For about 2 years, that profile is nurtured, and it is made to seem as a profile which should be very credit worthy. After 2 years, what happens is this particular profile which has been seeded is actually a deep fake. So what happens is after 2 years, they've created that credit profile and then a large line of credit is applied for, okay? Post which that profile simply vanishes. So let's say something like $50,000 or $100,000 line of credit is taken and that money simply goes poof. Now, this has been happening for some time. So what did banks do? Banks said, okay, let's look at arranging guardrails with one or two simple steps. Now, with those one or two simple steps, what happened? They initially thought that those one or two simple steps would probably ensure that these kind of deep fakes or these kind of frauds would get curtailed. They suddenly realized that the guardrails that they had put in were simple, but it was actually deterring actual customers from applying for certain smaller loans or even actual loans. Just because this actual customer probably did something which was not as per what the bank had been tracking as his natural behavior. So for example, if let's say one of the guardrails that was put in is this customer has never come to the bank, okay? This customer typically goes to the ATM, makes his withdrawals there, makes all his requests either through phone banking or through the ATM. If this person applies to another mean, which is let's say not his natural means of interacting with the bank, they would just cascade that as a risk and not allow for that loan to get sanctioned. Now, was that the right thing to do? Probably to begin with, yes. But what it did is that it actually took away a real customer from the bank and made a very dissatisfied customer. Now what they're doing is they're looking at probably different models. They've gone to the extent of also looking at, okay, at what tilt is the customer actually looking at his phone when he is doing mobile banking. So they've applied different models now, made it a lot more, I think, today centric to how one would be certified as an actual customer and not a deepfake. So to answer your question, it is getting there. It is not yet 100% correct. Over time, I think with more learning, institutions will get much more organized. They'll have much more intense knowledge of who a real customer is vis-a-vis, let's say, a deepfake. Thanks.
Great. Interesting insights. And I guess we have one last question. Yes.
Very good afternoon, panel. My question to Ranjan sir especially is it getting a high, my question is to when HFT traders and high ultra HNIs and AMCs taking trades, is it getting difficult? Because in this era, when we are getting news at in seconds, we are getting updates, it is good or bad? Because when HFT traders take trade, they want news at first. Like, I want to trade that news, I want that news first. So is it excess information and misleading informations affecting their decisions? And sometimes when misleading news get in market, how it affect?
So it's a very interesting question. See, if you look at trading today, if you look at most studies that have been done, today recent studies say that almost 70% of all industrial trades are being made through AI, okay? And trading has been done by machines since the last 15 odd years or 20 odd years. And it was largely algorithmic trading. But today the AI models that are present work real time. So yeah, to your point, if there is a fake news out there, it could impact a trade. it is possible. But mostly the codes that are written for AI trades to actually take a decision, most of the news have to be verified and certified that this is true, basis which then the AI bot would take that trade. I think very recently, about 3 days back or 4 days back, there was news about a particular AI bot calling a customer, and this was before the markets would actually open. And the bot wanted to take a confirmation from the customer saying that I want to place a trade when the markets open. So it was a hedge bet that was done. And the bot actually made the customer, I think in terms of Indian rupees, about 40 lakhs in about 5 minutes. So yeah, it is very much happening. It is extremely risky. And well, with high risk comes high reward as well. Thanks.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Ayan, Ranjan, and Manisha. Wonderful insights, and I hope all the students out here have got insights. Maybe we can further chat post during the lunchtime. We are all here. Thank you again, Indira University, for giving us this opportunity to have a discussion with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, panelists. Can I have Professor Sakti present mementos to the panel members, please? All right, can we line for a group photograph? Smile, camera, action. Thank you so much, panelists, for making this session so possible. And I'll hand over the mic to Professor Shakti for the closing remarks.
We'll just wait for a few seconds. Yawning is coming, hungry or angry? I asked this question yesterday. Not angry? Great. So you enjoyed the session? All the sessions? Finance guys? So we'll wait for the dignitaries to be here, or why not? Why not? So, guys, I think it was a treat. If you look at last 2 days, what we have been witnessing. Of course, there was a chat in the backside. May I know the reaction? I know you guys have come today. I know, I'm aware of it. But we being the host, and we've been seeing it for the last 1.5 days, how the perspective came from the industry people and from the various field, and the kind of expertise what they've shared, and what we should as an academicians and students to take home the message, and the kind of interaction from you buddies has been amazing. Big round of applause to you guys first. My sincere thanks to our beloved team from Doug Bhatia sir. That's what I can tell you. I think in 1.5 days, if they can bring 80+ industry experts to Pune, traveling from different parts of country, I think a phenomenal job. I think entire round of applause. Entire team deserves a round of applause. Sir, please convey my regards to Dr. Bhatia. Okay, I think amazing job. My beloved faculties who've been with us, doing a tiring job, and the whole organizing committee includes faculties. I think they are behind the scenes. Some are visible here, and Abhishek Raidas, busy. See, that's how they are behind the screen, not visible. The student volunteers, branding team, amazing job. I think they deserve a very big round of applause, guys. First of its kind, AI Summit in Indira, and thank you so much for your patient listening. That's the most important part. What is important now is that 1.5 days, AI Summit has happened, multiple topics. Today you guys have come here for half a day. Some summit has happened, okay, leave. No. This is where your journey begins. I think your ability to connect with these industry thought leaders immediately through LinkedIn, whatever way you wanted to bug them up and get connected, learn. Opportunity for you guys to go further. With this small little note, I think I should leave. Thank you very much, and thanks everybody. Thank you. Other formalities pertaining to attendance and whatever you have to do it and then leave. My request to the dignitaries, I welcome you guys for the lunch. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys. Please.